Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Craig, otherwise known as FTFE, stands for Forgot to Flush Everyone, or Flew Through the Freedom Eagle, or most likely Fight the Flat Earth. I spend my time arguing with people that would cause a brain-eating amoeba to starve to death if it entered their skull. They're called Flat Earthers. Recently I watched a debate between someone called Will, an engineer, and my old friend Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, who now goes by the moniker Iron Horse. Iron Horse still says the dumb shit that he said 7 years ago, so I thought that Will and I could go over a debate I had with him about 7 years ago. Please, if you're watching this, make sure you got one of these handy, because I keep getting lawsuits from people that damage their face, and so what happens now is you need one of these, and if something stupid is said, you put it on your hand, and then you're protected. All good? Right. Anyway, so I'm about to play an intro. This is a live stream, so if you're here watching the live stream, you don't really get a choice what happens. But if you're watching this as a VOD later on, then you can skip the live stream and not complain about there being an intro. But if you are here watching, you don't get a choice, like I said, and that means there's music, and you have to dance. If you don't dance, I'm going to send Daniel Pratt to your house. If you do dance, I will send you a cookie, a chocolate chip one. Ready? Music incoming in 3, 2...
Flat Earth expert Mark Sargent thinks the moon landing was a hoax.
Technically, the moon itself is a hoax.
Right, but betting with Sportsbet's new iPhone app?
I could do this standing on my head.
Thanks, Gravity. Sportsbet's new iPhone app. It's foolproof.
The FTFE Show. Welcome to the FTFE Show. Welcome to the FTFE Show. Earth thinks that evolution is real. Chemtrails don't exist, vaccines work. Climate change is happening, we landed on the moon. The FTFE Show. Welcome to the FTFE Show. Welcome to the FTFE Show. Scooty, it's not alright. Baby, it's not alright.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for being here. I do love all of you, not you, Gary. You know what you did. So I have just about recovered from the 56-hour stream that you forced me to do. Thank you for holding me hostage. It's appreciated. My family were glad to be rid of me for a while. Wait. That's not a good thing. So we're here today with the amazing Will, an engineer who goes by FreeWill on YouTube, who has done a couple of debates on modern day debates. And he recently debated my old friend Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, and well, it was as dumb as you can imagine. So he also debated Nathan Thompson, which was the one that I covered actually on my stream. So he must be suffering from brain damage as well, because, you know, talking to those people hurts you in the skull. Right, so do me a favor, like this the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you're not already. But yeah, sharing is the most important thing, because when you do take the URL and put outside the YouTube, the algorithms get all happy when you tickle them and stuff. So, you know, put it on your YouTube and your Twitter and your Facebook and your Bebo and your MySpace and Friends Reunited. A way you can actually really help the stream is if you start a company and then hire a bunch of people, and then on payday, instead of giving them a pay slip, just give them a bit of paper with the URL to my YouTube. And, you know, I'm sure I'll get some angry people, but at least they'll be here watching the stream. But anyway, let's get Will on and introduce him, and let him introduce himself. Will, hello, welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
Hey, FTFE, I'm happy to be here. I love watching your content, and I've always kind of looked at your content as a model that helps me attack these guys even better than I could before, so I'm happy to be a part of this.
Well, I was actually very impressed watching you, because you are like kind of the anti-me. You are so calm and collected, and you let them hang themselves with their own stupid, which I very much appreciate. So you recently debated Nathan Thompson. How do you feel that went?
Nathan Thompson, what was he? I don't know if I did debate. What was that? That was on Flat Earth?
Oh wait, was it Nathan Thompson, or was it? No, it was Flat Earth Jesus. I'm sorry, I watched a different. No. Right, my brain is fried still from the debate. It was another person who debated Nathan Thompson. You debated Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, and that's the one I watched.
That's right.
You debated a couple of people on one day debates. Who was the other person you debated on there?
Witsit.
Witsit, yeah. Oh, yeah. Spitsit, yes, yeah. Well, congratulations on joining the long line of people to beat Wixit in the debate, because he's never won a debate in his life. He has, of course, now been chased off the internet into his mummy's basement, where he's no longer allowed to do flat Earth. Otherwise, he has to find somewhere else to live. So that's fun. Do you know the story of me meeting him live in New Jersey?
You met him live in New Jersey?
Yeah, we were both at DebateCon 5. He was there debating if children should be allowed to transition. I was debating Andrew Wilson on Christianity versus secular humanism. And well, basically, when he walked in, one of the organisers thought a homeless person had entered the hotel as well as security. There was a weird smell around him. I offered him a vape. He didn't like that. And then he disappeared in an Uber, and then came back like 90 minutes later, eyes extremely wide, walking in, well, like Trump down the red carpet. It's a bit weird. Anyway, we have the VIP dinners during the time, right? And my table full of like my supporters and friends and stuff, and his table didn't have anyone, like no one. Literally, he was the only person sat at his table, and it was quite sad for him. And the organisers came up to us and asked if we could go over and sit with him to, like, you know,
oh my god,
keep him
that's
company.
so sad.
I think they knew what would happen. Basically, we got into an argument because Wixit hates my
Shocker.
guts. Yeah. And he started screaming like a maniac and told me to leave him alone. And I did, after telling him why he's the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. And then after the VIP dinner, me and Mike from the Drunk Debunk show were outside the room having a chat about it. And he walked past, heard us like mocking him, got about 25 meters away, turned round and shouted, "Yeah, well, you're just a chubby cripple and you're never invited to these things." You know, the thing that I was currently at. And then said,
hell?
"You're never going to be invited back." And then I was invited back to the next one, and he was banned from it. So that was quite funny.
Oh my god, this man! Like, I like to just call him dipshit instead of
Yeah,
Wixit.
I mean, it works. Spits it. It's
know?
good. You know, he did physically abuse his wife and got arrested for it, right?
Yeah, I think I've heard that's why he's no longer allowed to come to the DebateCon.
Yeah, I think that was the reason that he got
situation.
banned, because I was due to debate him at DebateCon 6 on the existence of God, where my evidence against the existence of God was going to be the existence of Wixit, to be fair. And that debate got cancelled because I'm pretty sure his ex-wife contacted James with all the information. One of the funniest things is at DebateCon 5, Mike from the Drunk Debunk show had some playing cards of his mugshots, because the amount of times he's been arrested, and he somehow talked Wixit into signing his mugshot of when he got arrested for abusing his wife.
Oh, what is happening? That's so disturbing.
Yeah, he's
what?
not. And then during his debate at DebateCon 5, which he lost spectacularly, he got very triggered because the front two rows was me and my supporters, all with our facepalm protection, just laughing at him and facepalming every time he said something stupid. Halfway around through the debate, he then stopped the debate and started arguing with my wife instead of having the debate, which was hilarious.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then after the debate, he ran away very, very quickly. The chat are saying that there's some background noise coming from you. Possibly a fan or something?
I think it might be from your mic. You sound. Is it just the mic on your? Whenever you speak, it's a little fuzzy. Because
I mute you and it goes away.
Room. Yeah, when you're not talking, I don't hear anything.
Definitely not me. That's weird.
Yeah, I hear it now.
I see it coming from your side when I'm looking at the audio.
So there's audio coming from me.
It sounds like a computer fan or something. Let me see if I can remember the
Yeah, the room I'm in is pretty quiet.
1 second.
You're also muffled at times.
I don't know why.
I can't really hear you right now.
Chat say it goes away when you talk.
Yeah, because I think it's your. Yeah.
Mic check.
I think when I talk, it overcomes your whatever audio is coming from your side.
I'm literally only picking up from your side. My mic is zero coming when I'm not talking. It sounds like a computer fan or something. Is your mic next to your computer?
My mic is right next to my mouth.
Let's see if I can restate it on your side.
Yeah, there's a very strange, like, it almost sounds like a train or something.
Let me see if I feed you let me just try something to see if it stops in your head. If I can Oh, it went away. What did you do?
Okay, there's a setting called noise removal.
Yeah, that removed it completely.
Well, I guess that was my bad.
Well, that's much better. Way. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, so your debate with Flat Earth Aussie Jesus. Tell me how that went for you.
Okay, so yeah, okay. I debated Witsit. Witsit is a debater. He debates, he knows how to debate, and he makes himself sound intelligent to people who don't really know much. Iron Horse, or Flat Earth Jesus, is not any of those things.
No.
And debating him it's really not a debate. It's just like at a certain point it's just like I don't know how to continue talking to this person. Like, you don't sound intelligent, you don't sound like you even know what you're talking about. You're just like nuh-uh. Whereas Witsit can like manipulate ideas in ways that like, oh no, that's because of actually these things. And you can see there's some like ideas going forward, but Aussie Jesus is just like, no, that just doesn't make sense. And math, has this weird thing against math.
Oh yeah, you're not allowed to use formulas. You just have to use reality, right?
It's just, I really wonder if we should just not entertain him at all for any of these debates ever, because it's not entertaining. It can't be entertaining to the audience, right? Am I crazy?
I mean, I think the first 4 or 5 times, I've debated him about 12 times. Maybe.
That's so crazy that
Yeah,
you
I
put
know.
yourself through that.
And it's basically just been the same debate every single time. He ignores what he's heard. And like your intro, you went over how the model, the globe model is the thing that works. It makes the predictions, whereas Flat Earth can't do any of that. And then his intro was going, well, globers don't even know their own model, even though you just explained the model. You know, it is literally in one side and out the other. He once debated me from a bath whilst drinking beer. And I had to like blur out a certain part of the stream because he showed his fucking nakedness when he stood up in the bath.
No, this man he's just a joke. It's like there is no redeeming feature. There's not seriousness. I feel like he's just, I hate to say it, he might just be trolling. Like, does he really believe these things?
He's genuine. He is one of the most genuine flat earthers that there is.
Oh my God.
Which makes it even more worrying. But he's also beyond arrogant. It's not just ignorance. There's a lot of ignorance about anything physics or maths related, but there's so much arrogance. He thinks that he is the one that understands everything because he spent years standing at the beach. Therefore, he knows more than every physicist and engineer on the planet. And it blows my mind.
And well, it really just makes me come closer to a conclusion of there really might be some kind of mental deficiency happening that's like clinical.
To be a flat earther, there has to be a mental deficiency. That, if you're a flat earther, you are either suffering from some kind of paranoid delusion, which you can snap out of, like Jeranism did. You know, he got rid of the paranoia and the hate of institutions and became a better person. And but then there's just this complete such a lack of trust for anything.
I'll say there are two categories of flat earthers, and I think one category is the flat earth follower who can be manipulated by leaders, and that person not necessarily has a mental thing going on. They might just be very willing to go along with somebody who seems strong and charismatic and are a follower, right?
Yeah.
And then there's someone who is the leader, and leaders are either, again, two categories, either fully bad faith, whereas I feel like Witsit might be in that category. I don't think he even believes, I think he's just trying to get followers, or there's actually mental deficiency happening, and I think Aussie Jesus is in that category of like, he really believes it, he's not following anything, he just goes with it for no apparent reason, for like his own delusions. And it's kind of closer to sad than angering, to be honest.
His thinking is on such a basic level. Like, he cannot grasp the concept of relative motion. You know, he insists that the Earth has to be chasing, or the moon has to be chasing the Earth to keep up with the Earth in its orbit and stuff. And I tried to explain to him, well, you can put like a merry-go-round on the back of a truck. You know, does that mean the people on the merry-go-round are now chasing the truck as it then goes around a roundabout or something? He does not grasp any physical concepts that help you understand physics. And you're an engineer. You work on first principles, very much like myself. And I love the way that you're explaining stuff. And you use Newton's laws to kind of explain the Coriolis and everything. And he would just straight up deny that Newton was a smart person. Yeah,
I really wanted him to. Looking back at what I was saying, I wish I had asked him if he believes in Newton's laws. Because I know there are some flat earthers who go that far and they will say, no, Newton's laws are wrong.
Yeah.
And if you can get them to say that, I feel like I don't know what more you can do.
He has said that to me. No, he's definitely said that to me before. He's told me that he said some of Newton's laws are right. The ones that he wants to be right. Like, he will agree that a force, something will keep moving unless an unbalanced force is acting on it, And I think I maybe taught him that myself, but then he will deny the other of Newton's laws, it blows my mind. And I wanted to ask you this. Have you noticed that, speaking to flat earthers, that they're not just monumentally stupid, but they're generally detestable people? Have you come across that phenomenon?
So yeah, I think I'll go back to my categories again. There are people that are the followers and the leaders. The leaders, I will go ahead and jump on the board. These people we need to do something about these people because they are acting in bad faith most of the time and are trying to be manipulative on purpose.
Like David Wise.
Just feed, like David Wise, Witsit, Dipshit. They are trying to just benefit. They're cult leaders. And then there are cult followers. And those cult followers are not evil in themselves. They are just easily manipulated. And I would not write them off as bad people. I would say they are misguided and they were given the wrong leader at the wrong time. And I feel bad for those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I find the ones that aren't detestable are the ones that you can generally turn around to understand the Earth's globe again, because they're and I was actually reading about how people with such low intelligence, they're horrible people because they don't have the intelligence for self-regulation to realize that what they are saying is a horrible thing. It's not like a lack of empathy. It's literally they're so stupid they don't have the mental capacity to regulate themselves into being good people. Like Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is a perfect example. So after I made my third debate with Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, and he was looking pretty ill, and he kept saying during the debate how he wasn't very well. And then I noticed a few days later on Facebook, he posted that he's been really, really unwell and he's struggling. He hasn't been able to work. He's got no money. Can anyone donate any money? And I'm human the majority of the time. And I thought, you know what? He's suffering and we've got this rapport and I'm going to help him. So I asked him, where do you want me to send you some money? Not much, but I'll send you like 20 quid so you can get some food, right?
Good guy.
And he gave me a PayPal address. And I was like, no worries, there you go, money sent. And then I got an email, a mocking email, saying how he just manipulated me into sending money to his girlfriend in Indonesia instead of him. This girlfriend that he'd been with for 3 years, but never seen, of course. But he's been with this girl for 3 years in Indonesia, and he actually works hard to send her a lot of money.
Mocking you?
Yeah.
For it?
Yeah. Ha ha ha!
Did
You stupid Glober! You've just sent money to my girlfriend! Ha 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 ha!
Did you like publish this email? Because that sounds like it's worth publishing to show how much.
Pretty sure
of a
that I did
piece of
back
shit
on the
he
day
is.
in Facebook. I showed it all, and I
Good,
even got him
'cause
to
that
admit that he did
cannot-
that. You know, he's on stream admitted that he got me to do that, and I was so stupid that he could manipulate me into sending money to his girlfriend instead of him, and how, you know, but I find that stupid in a few ways.
That's beyond stupid. That's just awful and disgusting.
I mean, clearly he's being fucking catfished by, you know, some dude
First
in
of all,
Indonesia pretending to be a
getting
woman,
catfished.
you know.
Yeah.
But the fact is that, you know, I was trying to reach out in a human fashion and, you know, helps, even though I disagree with him, you know, we hadn't really had any falling outs at that point, apart from me calling him a fucking idiot several times. But, you know, I thought maybe this could be a little bit of an olive branch between us. Maybe, you know, it can build a relationship and I can try and help him. But no, he gave me an email address of someone in Indonesia that I sent the money to. Now, does that mean that he lied about needing the money? I don't know.
Yes, it sounds like it did. Like
It sounds. I'm not going to
did
make that assumption because he certainly did look ill, you know, and, you know, maybe he couldn't work. But if he needed the money so badly, why, when I offered him the money, did he then not accept it and just have me send it somewhere else? And I couldn't get it back because I did it on PayPal, and it wasn't a business. It was friends and family, which you can't, like, you know, charge back, you know. So
God, this dude is beyond dumb. He's like evil.
Yeah,
that's just despicable.
You know, you want to talk about him being evil? He quite often pushes neo-Nazi white power propaganda as well. You know, it's all over his Facebook.
I've heard someone told me he likes the mustache man.
Yes, no, he says
sure.
that the mustache man didn't do anything wrong, and history has lied about him. He often says how the Aryan race are the only true race, whatever that means.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
see, I didn't know any of that before my debate. I think I would have been a lot more harsh because I assumed he's just really, really mentally ill and bad, maybe good faith, but now it just sounds like he's bad faith and not just dumb, but like you said, like evil, terrible, despicable person.
Oh yeah, no, all those things work for him, but at the same time, I think he is a genuinely stupid flat earther. For you know, Southern Hemisphere flat earthers fucking confuse me anyway, because just where's Polaris? You know.
Because like the whole thing about flat Earth is they obviously put the North Hemisphere in the middle because that's where it all makes more sense.
Yeah.
Like all the geometry is closer to reality for the North Hemisphere if that's the map you're using. The Southern Hemisphere, everything just goes completely off the wall. So the fact that you're in the Southern, being a Southern Hemisphere flat Earther means you are beyond a flat Earther. You're the dumbest of the dumb.
Yeah. He's told me several things that are incredibly stupid. If you watched all the way through the debate, you would have seen the thing. How much of that debate that I sent did you watch?
I got through it all. It's
So you heard the thing about the giants and the moon, right?
The helium bubbles and
that's
carving out
one
Grand
of the
Canyon.
most insane things I've ever heard. But the most insane thing I've ever heard from him, and there's a video on his channel, is that one night he was watching the television, as he calls it, and there was tennis on, and he had to record and do a video about how, well, this is proof that they're making CGI. So the tennis match that he was watching, which was the Australian Open, which I looked up, and the where it's at has like 3,000 seats for people in the audience, right? But he was saying that what they're showing on TV and the tennis is just CGI. It's all just CGI.
Why?
Because it's getting us used to seeing CGI instead of real things. You know, ignore
But why
the
does he
fact that
think
there's
it's CGI?
thousands of people there watching it live who are also on the recording, you know. But this is how, and this is why I think that he is the genuine flat earther, because he has so much mistrust in not just science and the government, but everything. Yeah. To him, everyone is lying to you. And that's what I always say about to be a flat earther. You don't just have to think the earth is flat. You have to believe every other conspiracy. Moon landing, chemtrails, 9/11 was an inside job, climate change isn't real. It's all fake because it has to be. You know, if you're a flat earther, then everyone is lying to you. Every single person that understands anything or is in any position of power or is an educator or an engineer or a pilot or a boat captain, they're all lying to you. And I think he genuinely believes that. And I think he also believes that they know that they're lying to you.
Oh, it's purposefully lying. It's not just an accident. So in my debate, I at the very end, I wish I focused a little bit more on this, but I came up with this idea of like hyper skeptic, and I want to use that more because I think skepticism. There's this understanding skepticism has value, and it does. It's very valuable in science, in investigating different things. But you can bring skepticism too far. You really can, because once you're so afraid of being misled that you don't believe people who have valuable information that can benefit you and your family, and you refuse to believe those people, you are now beyond the value of skepticism. Skepticism is no longer benefiting you because you aren't willing to accept information or even just support like vaccines that will actually benefit you and your community. You're beyond what it's useful. So you have to find that boundary and understand that skepticism has its limits in terms of how useful it really can be. And Ozzy Jesus fell down the hole. I would relate it close to like a solipsist, where you believe nothing is real in the universe except for yourself, because you don't want to be misled. You don't want to trust anything. So nothing's real. Everything behind my eyeballs is fake, because I'm not looking at it right now, right here. That's like the level of distrust and disbelief you have to be in to fall down that rabbit hole of flat Earth, just like him.
Yeah, no, I think hyperskepticism is the perfect moniker for these people. There's nothing wrong with being a skeptic. I'm a skeptic. I don't believe what I'm told.
It's good. Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I took such an interest in science, because it helps me determine what is and isn't real. You know, being an engineer and you know, understanding how things function give me that ability to test claims and to, you know, actually scrutinize things in a way that's useful. Being a skeptic is extremely important. You know, don't just believe what you're told, because, I mean, that's how misinformation is spread, just by believing what you're told. But then ignoring the answers and ignoring the evidence is how stupidity spreads.
Yeah, that's how you stop actually benefiting your community, right? Because if you don't want to accept anyone's trust, you don't trust the experts who've studied it for decades and decades, you believe you understand it better than they do, then it actually kind of reminds me of the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, who had this philosophy that you shouldn't use anything anybody builds except for yourself. You should be the only one who makes everything you use in your whole life, which would naturally result in you living in a hut that you built in the middle of a forest and you making your own personal farm, and you could never progress further than that because you would never accept help from anybody else. You could technically live a life, and that's how we lived for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
But you would never be able to build technology that would require that help of hundreds of different people. You could never build smartphones or rockets or airplanes because you don't accept help, because you don't trust anyone other than yourself. And it's just, you're going to be a primitivist because of that.
Ross believes that hundreds of years ago we lived longer, healthier lives than we do now. He thinks that like people 300-400 years ago were more healthy than we are now. And I tried once explaining to him how 1,000 years ago 28 was the average lifespan. 50% of people died before they got to 28. 500 years ago, 50% of people died before they got to 300. 150 years ago, 50% of people died before they got to 35. But now, 50% of people live to be at least 50. And that's because of the advent of science and medical knowledge and understanding. And, that shows that we are healthier now than we were then because we're not dying sooner. And he just ignored what I said and just kept going to, but they ate raw food and they were clearly healthier because they had nothing processed. And but Ross, they were dying before they got to their 40s. That's not being healthy. That's, I'm 42. 150, 200 years ago, more than a 50% chance I'd be dead already. Whereas right now I feel like I'm kind of just starting my life. And hyper skepticism, as you put it, is something that will push us back to things like that. Just being so skeptic of anything that could actually be useful to you. How old do you think Ross is?
I know how old he is now that you were talking about him, but I would never had guessed.
No.
I would have thought he was like over 60, 70.
Yeah.
I thought he would be in that range.
I, for years, called him Flat Earth Granddad, right? Because I assumed he was an old man. But finding out that he is only 7 years older than me blew my mind.
Yeah, he should not be that old. He should be like 70 or 80. That is I would never have thought he needs to be in a home somewhere where he's being taken care of and not a danger to himself, which he probably is.
I mean, he's explained several times how his children have all, they don't talk to him anymore. They don't want to be part of his life.
I can't believe it. Wow.
I know.
The Nazi who is a flat earther is not wanting to be talked to by his kids. I cannot believe that.
Crazy.
That is
a couple of super chats. The Turtle Moves for
£2
£2 says, did Thompson bounce Wits its head on his hammer? Very good. That's the joke about how Nathan Thompson, when he was training to be a flat earther, would bounce a golf ball and a hammer whilst reciting flat earth proofs.
Wow, that's funny.
Deplorable Ilk, £5 says, there is nothing wrong with Iron Horse's brain. It's perfectly preserved in alcohol. He's usually drunk when I'm talking to him, that's for sure. Nivok Spilkerman, member for 20 months, says, enough jibber jabber. Bring on the simp. Is simp the right word for Flat Earth Aussie Jesus or just simpleton? I'm not sure. Inquisitive Infidel, £5. It's emotionally rewarding to think they're special and know more than everyone. They see experts as manipulators because intelligence is beyond them. Yeah, they do think that they're the special ones, and I tend to agree that they are certainly special, but just not in the way that they think.
They are so special.
More back of the short bus licking the window special. Rachbot, $5 says, are you a phaser, Craig? Because you're stunning. Star Trek joke. Star Trek or Star Wars, Will?
Oh, Trek every time.
Good man. Yes.
It's just objectively true.
Aye, yeah. I saw a poll recently online. A few people sent it to me, actually. And it was, who would you trust more? A stranger with a Star Trek t-shirt or a stranger with a Star Wars t-shirt? 95% of respondents said they would rather trust a stranger with a Star Trek t-shirt. And I get that. I really do.
Look, it's a universe like Star Trek. I feel like Star Wars is all glitz and glamour and was cool because it was one of the first ones. But Star Trek was more real, interesting concepts being discovered,
See, for me, Star Trek is anyone can be someone incredible, right? But Star Wars, you have to be born special, It's just like royalty nowadays, If you're not born with the Force, then you're never going to be anything big,
And also the Force is literally magic. It's science fiction. Science fiction is cool, but I don't like it when science fiction is just there's magic in addition to science. It's I'd rather you just kind of have some kind of more practical explanation for everything involved. And Star Trek does a pretty...
At least they try to put some technobabble in there. They try to explain what can appear as magic,
Exactly.
They call, extra fast warp, quantum slipstream or something, and it's basically magic a lot of the time, but there's technology behind it. It's not just this mystic force.
Exactly. And like the Force is literally the Force, and there's zero explanation of it. Also, the amount of content Star Trek has is like they have like at least like double, if not triple, the amount of content Star Wars has because of the not just the TV shows, but the movie. They have more movies than the Star Wars movies with
I think there's
all
13
their series.
Star Trek movies now.
Yeah, and that's probably up to
I mean, we're not counting
Star
Section
Wars.
31, of course, because nobody should count Section 31. Zoomicide member for 49 months. Amazing. Thank you, Zoomy. I do appreciate it. Your probes back there watching me on top of the TARDIS. Says, skepticism is healthy. However, being a Flerf is not being a skeptic. It's ignoring the truth and ignoring all reality, not skepticism. You're right. It's hyper skepticism is the perfect moniker for what Flerfs have. Or just being manipulative dickheads. The Mojek 499 says, if Flerfs don't trust anything, maybe they should all leave the internet, etc. Yeah. The internet, I don't think there's more flat earthers than there used to be. I just think they're managing to get their nonsense out there more because of the internet.
I think it comes in waves. Like Flat Earth always has a surgeons every once in a while, and the internet, that was the other point I made actually. Hyperskepticism and misinformation spreading. And the internet has, if anything, the internet has allowed misinformation to spread like wildfire faster than it's ever been able to spread before.
Yeah.
Meaning that the people who are susceptible to that are going to be following down those rabbit holes a lot easier than they would have otherwise.
Yeah, before there was just village idiots, but now the village idiots have connected and made their own village exclusively full of idiots.
Yeah, it's the whole world has village idiots that are being seen in our face all the time. You get to see all the village idiots.
I see flat earthers as the people in like the American Revolution that wouldn't believe that washing your hands was a good thing and then died of dysentery, Like
So there I really do believe that things like flat earth, they can't prosper, and they don't have the ability to prosper because people who believe it will never be as successful as people who don't believe it, because they won't be able to function in society. And that's kind of what the point I was making in my debate was like, why, Iron Horse, does flat earthers never seem to innovate in technology, and everyone who does innovate is never a flat earther? Why? It's because flat earthers mean you don't believe in science, so you're not going to make scientific discoveries because of that.
There is no invention that's been made by a flat earther, but I said that, and then I was shown, well, here's an invention by a flat earther, and it was just a dome with a flat earth map on that had a light going around it. Well, they invented that.
I didn't consider it. That's a good one.
Well, that's useful. I can see how if we have an apocalypse, that's going to save us, right? Not I
can't believe he must be a billionaire being able to sell that IP to people, and I'm sure he patented that, and he's going to start distributing it. It's going to change how we think about everything.
I had a conversation with Flat Force Jesus once. If there was an apocalypse and we went back to most technology was destroyed, who would be more likely to survive, me or him? And he was convinced that he would be. And I had to explain to him that my specialty that I've trained for is energy generation, power generation. You give me, the raw materials, and I can make electricity, and that's going to make my life and everyone else's life better. But what can you do? You can maybe brew some beer and stare at the sea. Which one of us is going to survive longer?
Yeah, I think electricity is a little bit more useful than getting drunk all the time and hailing Hitler.
Exactly. Mission Apparition Para for been a member for 50 months. Thank you, friend. Evening, me self-made babber. Hope you and your family are well. Appreciate it, my friend. Yes, my wife and kids are doing wonderful. Thank you. Inquisitive Infidel for $2. NASA post to track space deniers. It's infuriating. Yeah, if I want to go looking for flat earthers, I just go to the NASA page on Facebook because their comments are full of flat earthers and moon deniers. It's hilarious.
Jesus, that's so embarrassing.
I know. Right, so we are going to go through the debate I had with Flat Earth Aussie Jesus
Yes.
7 years ago. And God, do I look different in there. I was about maybe 30 kilograms heavier than I am now there as well. And
I was about to say, you look a little bit more fit.
oh, yeah, I'm a lot fitter now. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I've lost... I put on weight after that because of the pandemic. I got to maybe about 20 kilograms heavier than I am there. But I'm now about maybe 50 kilograms lighter than I was in total. Well, maybe more, actually. I was 137 kilograms, and I'm now about 8. Yeah, I lost nearly half my body weight, basically. And I go to the gym 5 days a week now. Because I followed science.
I'm sure if you followed Aussie Jesus, he'd just say drink wine every day or some shit.
Yeah. All right, give me 1 second. I just need to sort something out because we do have a clown on the screen that I don't want there. So I'm going to cover Steve McRae's face. There we go. That's how that should be.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Goddess Engineer, of course, awesome. Absolutely have him there, but Steve McRae is just a massive fucking clown.
I'll answer your little question.
So, you've watched this already, so you know what's coming. So I do apologize in advance.
So, before we start, Steve McRae, like, what is his deal? So he's a flat earther?
No, he was a globe earther. He is a globe earther, and he claims to be a nuclear engineer, though I've never seen any evidence of that. But he's just a despicable human being that stalks people online. He's one of the worst MAGAs that I've ever come across now. I used to like him. I used to be friends with him until I realized that he was an actual piece of shit. So I do find it very funny that when you search Steve McRae online, the first thing that comes up is the video that me, Chesh, Dapper Dino did about him called Steve McRae Ruined His Life. So the first thing you find about Steve McRae is me slagging him off.
Wow. We'll watch that next.
The Non Sequitur show was kind of modern day debates before modern day debates came around. It was run by Steve McRae and a guy called Kyle Curtis, and they had a big falling out where there was issues with money, and we all sided with Steve because Kyle tried to steal the show basically, but then we realized that we were wrong to side with Steve because both him and Kyle were pieces of shit. And yeah, long story. If you want to know the story, watch my video how Steve McRae ruined his life.
Aussie Jesus
You do hear that, right?
Yes, I can.
Good.
is who we've got here. So we're going to start out with some introductions. We're going to let Fight the Flat Earth go first, and then we'll head on over to Flat Earth Jesus over there. So FTFE, you want
I'll skip through my intros.
Show the things that are 100 things like the
the Flat Earth or something like that?
But well, I do like
no
the
worries.
statement you made when you say like, you're like, good to have you, Flat Earth Jesus. If you say something like, get ready to be crucified again, or some shit like that, like, oh my god, you're going all in on that. I love that.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to call yourself Flat Earth Jesus, then you're going to get it. I also tried to explain to him once that, Jesus wasn't a white person, right? Blank.
Well,
blank.
Clearly he was white because all the pictures look white, so that
Except if you go to
he's
China and speak to Chinese Christians, their pictures are of a Chinese guy, funny enough.
I've heard there's Korean churches that have Korean Jesus too. And it's almost like people make him what they want him to be. Whoa.
We've got the Mojek for 199 says, tired of tech fading? Have you heard of Raynet? No? Oh yeah, you do know that when Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is online, he's literally using satellite internet, right? Like when he debated you, he was using Starlink.
I mean, it's just, there's just nothing. There's just nothing there. He will never, ever see the irony in his entire life. It's so futile. It makes me so sad.
It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, God.
I'm not really Jesus. My name's Ross.
You're not really Jesus. No.
Oh, thank you for the clarification. I thought you were really Jesus. Oh my God.
My life has been. I spent all this time thinking he was actually Jesus. Oh.
I don't think Jesus looked as crazy as you do.
No.
Iron Horse.
Jesus
think
probably didn't
anyone
think
does.
the world was a flat either, because he lived after the Greeks had kind of figured it out, right?
Actually, that doesn't really. Did was Jesus there after they discovered the Earth was round?
Well, the Greeks have
I don't
known
know.
for at least 2,500 years, right? Eratosthenes was BC, right? So, although
Jesus might have been a
cosmologies
globe
in the
earther.
Middle East, I guess a lot of them did consider it as well, they didn't really have astronomical views as such, but they just assumed that because of what they saw, a lot of it was flat. But Jesus literally lived in the time where we had started to figure out that the Earth was a globe with measurements and stuff and sailing around the world,
See, the Eratosthenes, okay, this is what I'll say. The Eratosthenes thing, it didn't like make people realize the Earth was round. Eratosthenes was just measuring the size of the Earth because everyone already knew it was round because stars go around.
Yeah.
So how is it not going to be round if the whole universe goes around you and the sun goes down?
Certainly
and
for a
comes
few
back
centuries.
up the other side.
Yeah, certainly
Yeah,
for a few
like-
centuries, like at least the ancient Greeks had kind of realized, well, it can't really be flat. None of that makes sense if the Earth's flat. Like, where does the sun go?
That's all you have to ask. It's not about if is there curvature. No, the sky tells you if there is any roundness. That's all you need.
Yeah. Apparently, the Korean Jesus is called An Sang Hong, and she's a woman.
Okay, progressive Koreans. Love that.
My friend's called me. I came up into the flat Earth discovery after many years of investigating the world we live upon. I didn't do it going through the indoctrinations that most people go through, what they call education. I did it from observing nature. And
Wait, is he saying there that he didn't go through education? Because I can believe that.
Whoa. I thought you had a PhD, Flat Earth Jesus. I thought you went through college for this opinion you have. Are you telling me you're uneducated? No.
See, I imagine he did go to school, but he was one of the students that was so bad the teachers literally left him behind. Like it would be it'd be the day at science when you're starting to do stuff with Bunsen burners, and the teacher walks around and he hands out the Bunsen burners, but he gets to Flat Earth Aussie Jesus and gives him a crayon instead. And still somehow, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus sets fire to the science lab.
He goes and grabs somebody else's Bunsen burner. It's like, you won't stop me from burning this place to the ground.
Just somehow he set fire to it with a crayon. After no, stop eating it. I know it's purple. No, oh my god.
Oh, Flat Earth.
reading
I would not trust him
as
with a
many
crayon.
esoteric books as I possibly could. One of the first things I came across many years back was something they call the Tamarack Mine Mysteries. Now, you may have heard of it, you may not.
Do you know about the Tamarack mines? So it was mines where it was basically like two bits going down and a tunnel connected underneath, and some people thought it would be good to try and test gravity with it, right? And the bobs kind of went the way that they wouldn't expect, and a lot of people go, aha, it shows that gravity's not real, except they didn't take into account that the way the tunnels were designed would cause breezes and stuff that would move these plumb bobs. So but of course any experiment which shows the Earth is a globe, because it's done
They'll cling
properly,
to.
they'll ignore. But any experiment that is nonsense and isn't done properly, like the first attempt at the Bedford level, where they was too close to the water, so refraction caused you to see further, etc. They will take those as absolute proof, while ignoring anything that goes against them. Is that hyperskepticism because they're trusting some things, but only when it
that's
backs
just-
up their belief?
I would call it either cherry picking or confirmation bias. It's just the classic confirmation bias. I'm only gonna believe this thing if it agrees with what I already am biased towards.
Yuri Matty Talks Max in the chat says, say hello to Will for me. His debate with Witsit is one of the best ever. Yeah, I was going to cover your debate with Witsit at some point in the next week as well, because I haven't seen that one myself. But after watching your one with Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, I did want to see your one with Witsit. I thought you debated Nathan Thompson, but I was wrong. It was Witsit. Yeah, you're welcome to come back and go over it with me if you like that. That could be fun.
I'd be
I'll see what
I'd
I've
be
got
so
planned
down.
for the week. Yeah.
But what the purpose of these geodetic scientists at the time was to try and work out of the globe that they believed they lived on. And so what they were able to do at the time with the technology, they dug their first mine a mile deep into the ground. You know, you could do it two ways. If you stuck two sticks out of the ground and you could measure from top to top, you get the distance of that. You can work out the equation of how big the Earth is compared to the distance at the bottom. Or you could use plumb bobs, go directly down towards the centre of gravity, two shafts, a mile deep, a mile apart, join them together at the bottom level and measure the distance, and then you'll get the formula for how big the Earth might be. You know, you'll get a good way of doing it. But what they found, after taking out every possible way of any chance of error, is it's 1 mile and 8 inches further apart. Well, it's 8 inches further apart at the bottom, not the top. So,
And the reasons for that were very simple. Air currents pushing the plumb bobs out, and also, if you look at the way it's designed, you know, 2 tunnels going down and something in the middle, there's more mass outwards. So the predictions of gravity, obviously, would be that the plumb bobs would go towards where the mass is greater, not where there's no mass, right?
You could make that argument. Yeah, I think I would probably bet wind was probably a bigger influencing factor.
The wind would have been much stronger than any gravitational force, by
exactly.
the outside of the mines. But it destroys their argument completely anyway, because that's what gravity says would happen if it was gravity causing it.
It would bring them further apart.
Yeah.
Well, according to him, that just means you're centrifugal being spin on the outside of a globe instead of or you're spinning on the inside of a globe instead of the outside. So that just makes more sense.
Do you know the Schehallien experiment?
No.
So there's a mountain in Scotland called Mount Schehallien, which is the most symmetrical mountain in the world, which means it's extremely useful because we can use it to measure things because its mass is very uniform. So Schehallien literally hung a extremely sensitive plumb bob device off of the edge of it and measured the gravitational deflection that the mountain caused the plumb bob to go inwards, and actually managed to weigh the world using the mountain by the deflection of it. And because we already knew what the gravitational constant was, obviously, so by the amount that the plumb bob deflected towards the mountain, he was able to literally weigh the world and confirm that gravity is what we say it is. So there is kind of a little bit of sense to the experiment that he's describing, but it's just the way that it was set up would have never have been as good as using Mount Schehallien, because it wouldn't have as much mass, and the fact that there's tunnels connecting to the outside causes wind and stuff. But I'd suggest looking into the Schehallien experiment because it's a very, very good experiment and very good to use in your debates when people start denying gravity.
Yeah, that does sound very weighing the whole world. I really like that concept, and I did mention the Cavendish experiment in my debate, and I feel like that's also just
the same answer from all of them. It's not even an experiment. Well, what about wind? But what about electrostatics? Well, we just remove those things.
The best part about the Cavendish experiment is that it's doable in a classroom setting. So it's been done thousands of times by hundreds of thousands of people, and all these big experiments that cost lots and lots of money and lots of infrastructure and lots of time, those can always be pointed to and be like, well, they could have done this wrong. Okay, but the Cavendish experiment was done by hundreds of thousands of people, so you have to say all hundreds of thousands of them did something wrong.
I mean, I did it in my physics degree, and I assume that most people that get an actual physics degree do the same experiment. It was literally first year. You've got, is it engineering physics as your degree?
That's right.
So you probably did slightly different syllabus to what I did. You focus more on the engineering side of it rather than mathematical proofs and things like that. So what was the basis of your degree rather than mine was obviously understanding physics. Yours was more based on engineering, right? Yeah.
So engineering physics is kind of a weird mix. I'm basically taking general engineering courses. Like I'm considered an engineer, but since I'm engineering physics, I took a lot of higher level physics classes, including like quantum mechanics and classical mechanics, and relativistic physics. So I took some higher level physics. I imagined when I started, I was going to be like, oh, I'm going to be a physicist and I'm going to be an engineer. So I'm going to be like the best of both worlds. But once I got out, it seemed more true that I was, instead of being both, I was kind of neither. Because I didn't have a fully centralized, focused engineering degree on one specific topic, and I didn't dive all the way into physics as deep as a full physics major would be. But I still get a job as an engineer. So
yeah, I guess it allows you to specialize in certain ways. Whereas I, first year, I was about 12, 13 months into my physics degree, and the military, you have like the job fairs that come to the universities, and there was the military, the Navy were there. And I went and spoke to them. They were like, look, join us and we'll help you get your physics degree done. What would you like to do? And they showed me a list of jobs. And I was like, being a nuclear engineer on board sub sounds good. And they got me through my physics degree within another 8 months, instead of it taking like the normal 4 years. And then they started me on a nuclear engineering, energy systems and fission technology degree, specializing in power generation. So I managed to get 2 degrees done in about 3 years because of the military. So I kind of had, I guess, the best of both worlds, because I did the full physics and then I did engineering, which allowed me to operate nuclear submarines, which was a lot of fun. Although, people are always like, oh, you were a nuclear engineer, that's so cool. No, guys, I boiled a massive fucking kettle, okay? I used hot rocks to make water into steam. That was my job, okay?
Oh, wow. That's a pretty cool kettle. Wait, were you on the submarine?
Yeah, HMS Trafalgar and HMS Turbulent, until I got an injury with my inner ear doing diving training, and then I was sent to surface ships. Then I got an injury there as well on my shoulder.
Yeah, I've heard like being on that ship. I mean, being a nuclear engineer sounds fun until someone described what it was like to be on those submarines, and like that didn't sound as glamorous as I would imagine.
I'm 6'1" and a bit. Submarines are not designed for people that are tall. I now have a very strange shaped skull. Put it that way.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a very claustrophobic vibes.
Yeah, especially the one time that literally it was maybe 4 or 5 months under without surfacing, and it fucked up all sense of time and where you were. It was very strange and claustrophobic and not nice. And after a few months, you go pretty stir crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the things that made me like. I thought nuclear engineers were the coolest thing ever until someone described it to me, and I was like, that sounds kind of like maybe I'm happy I didn't have to go through that miserable experience. But hey, I'm happy people like you are smarter than me and were able to do it.
Well, I don't know if I'm necessarily smart than you. I just trained in other things. I've had an argument with flat earthers about, if you were a nuclear engineer, why do you not have all nuclear radiation on you? And I have to kind of explain to them that sitting in front of your computer screen with concrete and stuff around you, you're actually getting more radiation than sitting next to a reactor, a pressure vessel, because it's so well shielded. There's so much less radiation sitting next to a nuclear reactor than just existing in the world.
Oh wow, yeah. If they're making sure that one location is not prone to risk because of the high danger stuff nearby, then it's the same with the I heard the safest place to be is in an aircraft carrier instead of just being in a civilian world, because on an aircraft carrier, although you're at war, you're now defended by all of the weaponry and aircrafts that are surrounding the aircraft carrier, rather than just being a regular person in civilian life where you could just be attacked at any moment. It's kind of the same, but with radiation.
Yeah, exactly. You're in places that have lockouts for chemical attacks and stuff, and can segment the ship into sections very easily. And there's extremely good medical care right there whenever you need it. Some of the best medical care. Your meals are specifically designed, and you never have to worry about being in civilian life and where's your meals coming from, because you just go to the galley.
Yeah, they literally designed this place to the T to not only be efficient, but to be as safe as physically possible.
Exactly.
Every single part of it. Yeah.
This whole curvature formula is ass backwards. So I started thinking, well, does that mean that we're on the center of a spinning ball, perhaps? perhaps we live on the inside of a globe, and what we look out in the universe is a holograph or some sort of holographic projection. That could be possible. That way, if it's spinning around, we've got an explanation for gravity. It's centripetal force pushing everything outwards, which you can see when you hold a bucket of water by your side and you spin it around and around. The water stays in because it's pushed down and outwards, just as we see with rain and whatnot. And the water level always remains level. But there were problems with that, which, as I got further into my investigations, is, well, how do we understand the sunset? It doesn't really work on the inside of it.
Doesn't work on a flat Earth either, because where the fuck does it go at night? It just, you know.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're willing to say that. I'm surprised he was willing to say the sunset doesn't work on the inside of a ring world or whatever he's describing. Like, come on, be a little bit more creative. You can figure out how it could work. I mean, like, that's the thing you're willing to say doesn't work, but it works on flat Earth. Come on.
Sunsets on flat Earth are just so stupid. They're like, oh well, the sun's local and it's just in those clouds, right? So if it's just in those clouds, how does half of the world see it at the same time? And then they're like, well, at night it just goes away from you, and then they show you like a table, like with the sun. They say, well, it just goes over here and takes the light with it, but then the people here can still see it. And then they shine a torch above a table, and they show you how, you know, the circle of light is over there now. Well, yeah, but I can still see the fucking torch.
There's still a straight line that can be connected between the observer and the light, even if it's on the opposite side of the table. You can still geometrically connect those two things with a straight line. And have you ever seen the Walter Bislin flat Earth calculator?
Yeah, friends of Walter Bislin, I've chatted with him quite a lot. Yes, and it's absolutely amazing. And then flat earthers have taken that as proof that the Earth is flat. But then you have to explain to them that the light has to literally do like loop the loops in certain places to be able to be seen. It makes even less sense, you know.
So in my Witsit debate, I had this whole thing and it worked out pretty well. I laid this trap for Witsit to fall into, and he did perfectly. I was like, Witsit, do you have any models to show how your flat Earth works? And he's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, bring up the model. Because I knew he was going to bring him to Bislin calculator, and he brought it up. I was like, okay, put in these specific parameters and look at it in this specific way. And he's like, why? I was like, just to see what it does, right? Just because it's your model, it should work, right? And he did. And it's like, okay, do you see how the light is not only bending 90 degrees, it's bending like 180 degrees?
Yeah,
that's how your model works.
Yeah,
it's doing a backflip. And you think that's how light works? You think that's how light functions? You have to... That's a lot more of an assumption. That's a lot less Occam's razory than mine.
I remember who I was debating. Can't remember what Flerf it was, and I'm pretty sure it was on Monday. Excuse me, it was on Monday debates, and they were using Walter Bislin's model, right? And whilst they were talking about Walter Bislin's model, I just started screen sharing the paragraph that Walter Bislin put up saying how this does not in any way, shape or form show that the Earth is flat, and actually is designed to show how impossible the flat Earth is, and that anyone using this to say that the Earth is flat is misunderstanding the purpose of the model. I just left that on screen whilst they were waffling about how it shows the Earth is flat. I didn't even say anything. I didn't mention to him that I just put it on screen. Once he stopped talking, I took it off screen just so the audience could see that even the person that made it thinks you're a fucking idiot.
It's exactly, you did exactly right. And when I did it with Witsit, I literally said, before we look at the model, go ahead and scroll up just a little bit and read those words right there above the model. And in Bislin's calculator, Walter Bislin himself put Witsit's name in the paragraph right above the model. He's like, so flat Earth leaders like Witsit gets it, take advantage of this model, trying to say it proves flat Earth when it demonstrably does the opposite. And I'm like, so this guy knows Witsit and knows Witsit takes advantage of this model, manipulates it on purpose. Like everyone knows he's manipulating you right now by showing you this model.
Yeah. It's like when they, have you ever come across flat Earthers showing the article that was written to mock creationists and the arguments against evolution? And it's basically it's an article about gravity and how it's not even it's not a theory, it's not even a good theory, and it's a bunch of arguments that creationists like to use, but then attributed to gravity. And at the top of the page, it explains how this is satire. And I have had so many flat earthers bring up that article as evidence that gravity isn't real because it says that gravity is not even a good theory, whilst ignoring the fact that the entire page is a satire article. Like, flat earthers are so fucking stupid.
I okay, so I'll even go this far. I've wanted to do more debates. This was honestly like a year ago now, but I wanted to do a few more flat Earth debates, and I went to a Facebook flat Earth account, and I was just like, "Hey, anybody who can debate me on modern day debate? Because I want to debate, and I'm willing to debate anybody about flat Earth because it's an easy dub." And do you know how many of them wanted to debate me?
None.
None. And that experience has made me start to realize I feel like more than half of the people on the internet who claim to be flat earthers are not. I feel like a lot of them are trolls.
I think that the ratio is 8-2. 8 are fake, 2 are real.
I think that's about, or 1-4, or yeah, 1 and yeah, you're right. I think that's about right. Like the majority are trolls, and the very few are falling for it. They're eating the onion.
So my lovely assistant Rubiks, who is trapped in my basement, has put the link to Will's channel, and I'm going to pin it. So please, everyone watching, go and subscribe to our friend Will here. PhD Tony in the chat says, more directly, in the Bisland model, the apparent positions of celestial objects would change dramatically with elevation above the surface. And we know that isn't true. Yeah, that's one of the things I love pointing out in the Bisland model is it represents reality when you're at literally sea level. But as soon as you move just a meter above sea level, it stops representing reality. Except the globe model, it works whatever elevation you are because that's included in our calculations.
Yeah. It's the flat Earth model only works with very specific conditions, mostly in the northern hemisphere. The calculations.
You just admitted the flat Earth model works.
Okay, thank you, Iron Horse. That sounds like exactly.
The Mojek says Devon and Cornwall are much more radioactive because of the granite rocks. Yeah, that was what I was saying. You get more radiation just living in the world than you do sitting next to a reactor pressure vessel.
Yeah. I heard like a banana gives off more radiation than a telephone tower or something like that.
Yeah.
It does work across a flat surface, which is really, really big. So we just live on a really, really big flat surface. The land is the parts that are measurably above water level. Water always seeks its level. Water must be contained by higher edges. And as the sun goes further away, there's this thing called perspective. Now, if you look at any panoramic picture, what happens?
When they bring up water must be contained, I just like to go, clouds?
I boil water in my kitchen.
Yeah.
What's that water doing?
What's being contained in what? Like, clouds are literally water. They're not gas, as flat earthers try and say to me quite often. They're literally water droplets, not water vapor. So why is that water not being contained? No answer? Yeah. Of course, I can just show them the videos from the ISS of them playing with water in 0G, and it's like literally hydrodynamic equilibrium's making it a sphere. But there's just CGI, it's fake because it hurts my feelings.
Happens due to perspective. The horizon is created by eye level. The ground beneath you always rises up to that eye level, and everything above you either sinks down to it or gets obscured by what's in front of you. And so basically the horizon is an obscurity point which obscures the sun. Now the sun, as it goes further away, stops illuminating your local atmosphere, which the atmosphere is composed of a heap of different gases, noble gases and so forth, and that therefore can...
Is there noble gases in the atmosphere? Does that...
Probably not.
No, I don't think that sentence makes any sense.
If Iron Horse said it, I would probably assume it's false.
Like the underside of clouds as it goes further away, because the atmosphere itself is glowing, and then it changes colour as it's further and further away. You get your pinks and oranges and so forth, and then eventually it's so far away it stops illuminating the atmosphere and you can see the stars. So that's basically my understanding of the flat Earth, and I've got a lot of other sort of crazy theories which may or not get to today, but I do believe that once...
Glad he admits they're crazy theories, because yeah, giants digging the Grand Canyon out of the moon out of the Grand Canyon is pretty fucking crazy. So.
Upon a time where we lived, Earth itself, it's a living organism. It's basically...
this is like, where did this come from? What are you talking about? Oh, first of all, okay, wait. Is it a living organism and flat? Because that's like even weirder. But
yeah.
if it's round and a living organism, at least it's like a self-contained, it could be like a contained system, but you're saying it's flat and it's a living organism. So like, I don't know anymore. Like, what is this?
Yeah, so Witsit has also mentioned how the Earth is maybe a living organism. And I think he got this from Eric Dubay, that says the tides are just the rising and the falling of Earth's bosom.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, perfect sense to me. Tides are just big boobs.
The bosom rises and falls as a normal human's bosom does.
Yeah, yeah. Why is there two of them too high and too low a day on opposite sides?
Because you got two boobs.
Oh, right. Yeah, but then explain the two low tides at the same time as the two high tides.
You're thinking too hard about this.
PhD Tony says there is noble gases in the atmosphere, but just about 1%. I guess that'd be argon and stuff, right? It's not, because oxygen is not a noble gas, and neither is carbon dioxide.
Oh, well, wait. Does that mean Iron Horse is wrong? Or no, he's right, actually. Then
he's partially right. I think he assumes that all the gases in the atmosphere are noble. I don't think he knows what noble gases means. Flat. I mean,
he just fucking says shit. He just fucking says shit. He's like, okay, this sounds like a scientific thing. Let me say it. There's zero anything behind his words.
Borg says, I need to tell RachBot how she is awesome and an awesome bot. Well, I know RachBot's awesome. I programmed them. Fuck's sake. That was my first attempt at AI and it escaped.
Absorbing sunlight, the energy, by plants, solar plants basically. They absorb the energy from the sun into their leaves and they grow. They absorb the crap out of the ground, this decomposing matter, and it's a living, breathing organism. And it keeps on growing. The sea level has always been rising, but what's happened over a period of time is all our giant trees have been cut down and we're basically living amongst the ruins of them. The mountains we see, the ruins of decomposing what were once living trees. You've got your messes, which look exactly like a cut-off tree stump. I don't know exactly who did it, but my theories are that giants once did this to us and they put the moon up there to mock us. My theory for the moon is my strongest theory for why the floating, spinning outer space ball that you like to believe in basically says is impossible. The moon cannot exist around the floating, spinning space ball because it's very simple. If you, for example, you've got a car sitting still.
There's like a couple hundred of you watching, and it's very important that you are either sat down with on your hands, or you've got some kind of facepalm protection whilst you're watching this next bit. Ignore the fact that he's just said the Earth has always been growing and the sea level has always been rising, which would mean that, there would be no land at this point. Don't worry about that, but the stupid that's coming up it's going to hurt, guys. It's going to prepare yourselves.
You start walking around the car, you can go a constant speed to go around this car. You can do it all day long. You're walking 5 miles per hour, whatever. But as soon as that car starts moving, even at 5 miles per hour, you have to speed up and slow down and speed up and slow down and speed up and slow down in order to stay a constant distance from it, which is what the moon must be doing. But in heliocentric belief, which is all about the Son of God, says the sun is also going 510,000 miles per hour through the galaxy. So not only are you going around the Earth at this constant speed, constant distance all the time, but as soon as your car takes off at 100 miles per hour through space...
See, got this engineer's face down here. Just go back 5 seconds. Watch his face.
But as soon as your car takes off at 100 miles per hour through space, how the hell are you going to remain a constant distance from it without adjusting your speed the whole time? Now, I know you're going to tell me orbital mechanics and all the rest of that.
Like relative motion, Will. What even is that, right?
Relative motion. That debunks the whole thing. I never considered you can't move while you're moving. That doesn't make any sense.
I once had an entire debate with Ross about relative motion and trying to explain to him that anything can be considered stationary. Anything can be considered a rest frame. And you just look at things moving compared to that. You know, yes, the Earth is moving really fast, but you can also consider the Earth as stationary and look at things compared to the Earth. Like these concepts are so far beyond their ability to understand.
So Alex O'Connor had this one argument, and I loved it so much that I think I'm going to start using it. He said, you know, I'm not a flat earther, but I do think I'm going to say I'm a geocentrist. I'm going to from now on say the Earth is in the center of the universe. You know why? Because I can, and mathematically, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with saying the Earth is in the center of the universe. That's just a different mathematical geometry than every other potential model of the universe. And you can't say I'm wrong. And so I'm a geocentrist now, no longer a heliocentrist.
Yeah. Although I like to point out that heliocentric, our model is not a heliocentric model. We have a barycentric model because us and the sun and every bit of mass in the solar system orbits the barycenter of the solar system. Because the sun isn't all of the mass. In fact, the sun orbits a point just outside the sun's surface. Because
exactly.
There's planets that are also part of the mass of the solar system.
Yeah, the CG of the solar system.
Yeah. So like, whenever they say heliocentric, I'm trying to point out that we're not heliocentric, we're barycentric.
So what is? I've never heard of the barycenter or barium.
Well, it's the gravitational center of everything. So you take all the mass of the solar system, the sun, and all the planets and all the asteroids and everything, and where the center of that is not the center of the sun, because Jupiter is 2.5 times more massive than the rest of the planets combined, and kind of that screws everything up really if you want to consider the sun is the center, because it's not. We orbit a gravitational center, which is called the barycenter. And that's how we know, one of the ways we know that there's planets orbiting distant stars is by the wobble of the stars, which can tell us that there's a gravitational effect of other things happening on them. Because every solar system in the universe has a barycenter, which is the gravitational center of it. So we don't have a heliocentric model. Because we don't orbit the sun. We orbit a point just outside of the sun, which the sun also orbits.
That's exactly right. And that center of gravity in the system itself, someone described to me that center of gravity is the reason why there are two tides on the Earth, two tides of water on the Earth, because one tide is a product of the moon's pull on the water, and the other tide is on the other side of the center of gravity of the system of the moon and the Earth, and it is being essentially flung off, like centripetal acceleration being pulled off on the opposite side of the planet, on the opposite side of the CG of the whole system. That's why there's two tides instead of just one tide being pulled towards the moon. There's two, one being pulled and one being flung the other direction.
Well, it's a bit more to it than that. So gravity is proportional to, obviously, the mass, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, right? Which means the further away from something you are, the less the gravitational force is happening. So we say you got the moon and the Earth and the sun, right? Which means that this part here is being pulled towards the sun more than this part here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, which means the water on this side is being pulled more than this. So the water here bulges towards the moon, because it's got more pull than anything else. But then the next thing is the Earth, right? So you got this bulge that's being made by the gravity of the moon, but then the Earth is also being pulled slightly towards the moon. So the moon moves into that bulge of water, and then because the water on this side is being pulled with even less force than the Earth and the water on this side, it leaves a bulge on that side. The bulge on that side is literally a consequence of the fact that Earth is moving into the bulge on this side, being caused by the gravity of the moon. Obviously, you have to take into account the the effects of the sun, because obviously that's got a gravitational effect and everything. But the basics, the main reason we have two tides is because of Fg equals gm1 m2 over r squared. That r squared is the most important part, because the further away you are, the least the gravitational force is acting. So you got this side, the water here pulled the most, then the moon pulled the center of the Earth pulled the second most, then the water that side pulled the least, which leaves a bulge there because the Earth is literally moving into the bulge that's on this side.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's something that always gets flat earthers caught up, and they just try to pick that apart, where it's how the system works, obviously.
Yeah. We got Rubiks for $2 says, I'm FTFE and I will release Rubiks from their hole. No, hold on one sec. Yeah, that debit card I gave you that you're using to send those super chats, that money is for the whole year. No, I'm not going to give you any more food and you just keep spending it on super chats for me. I gave you the money, you're just giving it back to me. How many shorts have you made today? 8. Do you think that's enough? Do you think that deserves feeding? Well, I'll tell you what, once there's another 20 made, I'll think about feeding you tomorrow. I made bolognese earlier, and there was some onions and stuff left over. I might give you the scraps if you behave. You know what? If you're going to cry, I'm just shutting the basement. No. Will, what do you do with the captives in your basement? How do you deal with them?
Oh my god. Sometimes I'll throw them like one of those dog treats. I throw them like one of those ones that not the ones that you can actually eat, but the ones you just gnaw on. Yeah. And you like try to get the insides
like the bone that's
out.
got the bits of marrow and stuff.
That's what I do. And I'll usually just keep refilling that with like more peanut butter for like a few weeks.
Peanut butter, that stuff's expensive. You're not wasting peanut butter on your captives, are you?
I mean, it keeps their morale up, at least.
Well, I mean, I sometimes, you get like the bread and you got the end bits that no one wants to eat. And, by the time you get to the bottom ones, a bit moldy and stuff. I will give Rubiks that because, I'm not going to eat it anyway. And it's carbohydrates. And then you got some penicillin with the mold. So at least you're not going to get infections from the sharp stuff that's in the basement, Frankly, I feel like it's a lot of hard work keeping your captives alive. That's why there's only one left, to be fair.
They need to be more appreciative, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. All this crying, I'm cold, it's damp down here. I mean, I gave them a damp towel. What more do they want?
Look, I can't spend $1,000 on a dry towel every single time you want something, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I need a towel. And it's not like they're showering each day. I don't let them have a shower. So what do they need a dry towel for goodness sake? Goodness, I know. Right. I quickly need to take O'Reilly, which means I need to stream whilst on stream. Do you know the story of O'Reilly?
No.
There's a flat earther called Anthony Riley, known as Sleeping Warrior, who during a stream did a stream whilst doing, as in he took a piss whilst on stream, and we could all tell because that face.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
the pee face.
Yeah. So when I need to use the toilet, I quit taking O'Reilly. So I'm just going to be away for a minute. Grab yourself a drink or anything you need. We're back in a minute and carry on with this. And you guys can listen to Dearth or Potato.
Pick it up, pick it up. Is it Dearth? Is it Potato? Watch the screen and wait for the show. What's revealed, we're dying to know. Is it Dearth or a Potato? Check it out. Dearth or Potato? Yes, I'm right, let's go. Dearth or Potato? It's the game that steals the show. Look at the picture, don't make a mistake. Is it a spud or is it a face? Out of the ground or from his own behind? Dearth or Potato, what will you find? Right up! Can you tell what's underneath? A derpy mugshot or a root beneath? With every guess, we laugh and cheer. Is it dirt or a potato? Let's make it clear. Hang it up, give it a show. Dirt for potato, let's go. Skank it up. Is it from the dirt or a funny disguise? Could it be a tater or a pair of eyes? What's in the ground or lurking around? Dirt or potato, where will it be found? Could it be smooth or full of lumps? Maybe it's grown on someone's big rump. Get your guess in, let's see what's true. Dirt or potato, it's all up to you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at the picture, don't make a mistake. Is it a spud or is it a face? Out of the ground or from his own behind? Dirt or potato, what will you find? A pile of soil or a starchy friend? Guess it right and you'll ascend. Look real close, don't let it slide. Is it dirt or a potato waiting inside? Let's go, rude boys. Garden patch or a silly trick? Will you pick the right one or end up quick? Whether it's dirt or a golden spud, dirt or potato, here comes the flood. A mystery unfolds, what will it be? A lovely spot or dirt, can't you see? With every reveal, we're in for a laugh. Dirt or potato, it's the ultimate craft. Dirt or potato, guess it right, let's go. Dirt or potato, it's the game that steals the show. Beneath the earth or just pretend, a lump of soil or some dumb trend. Pick your choice, don't hesitate. Dirt or potato, now seal your fate. What's in the box, what will appear? A mash of dirt or something unclear. Make your move, we're almost through. Dirt or potato, it's all on you. Will it be fries or a dirty pile? Guess it wrong and we'll laugh for a while. Test your luck, it's time to go. Dirt or potato, let the guessing flow.
Yep, dirt or potato, we still can't tell. Although potatoes are much more intelligent than dirt. We do know that for an absolute fact. Zoomy says for $2, wait, so Barry Allen's at the center? That makes sense. Barry Allen's one of the worst Flashes. Wally West is the Flash that you want to save the day. Way more powerful. Wally West's connection to the Speed Force is so much more powerful than Barry Allen's. Come on. DC or Marvel? Will? There is only one right answer.
I kind of like Infinity War, so maybe Marvel.
Yeah, you just leave now, please.
No, I picked wrong.
Yeah, I'm literally wearing a
DC
Green
person?
Lantern ring.
Okay. Well, how'd you feel about Batman vs Superman? Not very good.
You mean Batman v Superman?
Thank you.
Tell me, do you bleed? No, he not on Earth, really. Only when the plot needs it, actually. See, I don't think it was a terrible movie. It destroyed a lot of concepts that had been built up in DC for a long time and was too Zack Snyder. But when you look at it in like the context of the world building, I did enjoy Batman v Superman. It just could have been... Batman was the best thing in that movie. Batman saved it. Ben Affleck as Batman saved that movie. I didn't like the way they were like, oh, let's try to do the Avengers by looking at some PDF files of the Flash and Wonder Woman, and Cyborg. Oh, there's their introduction. Right. Oh, Justice League,
Yeah, it felt super rushed.
Yeah.
It was like, felt like each one of them should have had their own movie. Like Wonder Woman, they had the one movie for Wonder Woman, and it was really good, and it was really well received. And if they had done that for Cyborg and for... I mean, The Flash, I think that his movie is also pretty well received when they just focused on him. But they put the cart before the horse, and they did the whole event. They did the whole Justice League before they did the individuals. It's like, it's a shame.
I think they should have had Grant Gustin as the Flash, not Ezra Miller.
That would have fixed it.
Yeah.
Gravity's the answer for everything. But
it is.
You go ahead, Darren. Tell me how the moon works.
Okay. I was gonna stop.
Bloody hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna stop because I did say a short intro. Not.
I like it. You had to cut him off because he just kept rambling on and on.
Yeah, you ask Ross to do a short intro and he can just talk forever. And once again, drinking beer because, like, I think he is 90% beer.
It's flowing through his veins.
Yeah.
So FTFE, do you want to respond to anything that
Yes, I do.
says?
Right, first thing, the mine
This is before I got a mic.
stuff you're on about. When was this? Rough date?
1900s, roughly.
Right, so I'm going to completely ignore that because it's now 2018 and we've got a lot better technology and understanding that says completely the fucking opposite. So
Actually, they did real science back then.
I'm going to completely ignore the stuff.
Yeah, so they did real science in like the 1900s, the 1800s, but they don't do any real science now. No, of course not. Not like we're communicating via fucking satellites.
Yeah, well, technology has only gone down since the 1900s, so
Clearly.
I think
Yeah.
we should use those older theories. Those were a lot more valid.
Yeah, just old medicine and stuff. Old vehicles, old buildings, old heating systems,
Bloodletting.
old plumbing would be great. Who needs modern indoor plumbing, right? Goodness.
I think souls are a product, or no, disease is a product of souls and demons.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Disease is also a product of Nathan Thompson not washing his fucking hands after taking a shit and then eating a snack. You do know that Nathan Thompson is now known as Shitty Fingers Thompson, right? Yeah, during a TikTok live, he went to the toilet, left the door open so everyone could hear him taking a shit. There was no flush, no washing of hands. Then he came out and went straight to his fridge and got like some meat and stuff and started eating it.
I hope the meat was raw, like burger meat. He's just eating raw, shitty meat with his raw hands. That sounds
we
pretty.
didn't know what we were talking about, and go with the stuff that says what we do know we're talking about, and we can measure what is underneath us thanks to things like seismic activity from earthquakes on stations. So we know exactly what is below us, and whatever you were talking about is complete and utter rubbish. So, because again, we're going to go with what we're in now, 2018, not what they knew from a couple of hundred years ago. Right, your holographic stuff, that's just unverifiable nonsense. I've never, ever seen any kind of proof of, and links into this whole simulation theory that, again, is nothing that has ever been shown as is complete unverifiable nonsense. Right, sunsets on a flat plane cannot happen. Simple as that. Parallel lines do not intersect by definition, okay? The sun cannot set on a flat plane. It just cannot happen. I've researched your Thatcher's law of perspective, which goes again with your massive ego calling yourself Jesus. You actually name a perspective theory after yourself. And that's complete and utter nonsense, because the actual law of perspective, law of angular perspective is A equals 2 arctan times G over 2R, where A is the angular size of the object, G is the actual size of the object, and R is the distance to the object. Using that formula, we can calculate exactly how big things should be based on how far away they are. And one thing that we can use that formula to show is...
I did maths. Oh, fuck, what am I doing? I gave him a formula. There was my mistake.
That was the problem. You went way too far.
Yeah.
You see, I don't need to know math to understand how it works, okay? According to Flatter Jesus.
You just need reality. You just need to go to the beach and look at the horizon. You don't need a formula. You don't need alpha equals 2 times the arctan of G over 2R. Fuck no, you don't need that.
Honestly, ever since math was invented, science has just been downhill.
Absolutely. Who needs an explanation, and who needs predictive powers, and who needs a language of science, and who needs any kind of proof ability? We don't need that.
I like vibes.
Vibes are much better. Yeah.
Changes angular size throughout the day, which, if we were living on a flat plane, it most certainly fucking would, by about a magnitude of 4 times. It does not change in angular size. It has been proven conclusively that the sun does not change in angular size. If you want to see proof, just go and look at Red Rhetoric's channel on YouTube. Thank you. So, we can ignore that. Water always seeks its level. No, that's fucking wrong. Water will do what it's being told to by force. Water will act based on a force acting upon it. In the case of the container, the forces are the edge of that bottle. In the case of the Earth, that force is gravity. Yes, gravity. You're laughing. That's because you don't understand it. Okay.
I mean, but he's kind of right when he says water finds its level. I mean, it doesn't find anything, but water is level. But that's because level is literally defined as perpendicular to the pull of gravity at any point, and engineers and surveyors use the curvature of Earth as true level. So water is kind of level when at rest, but that's because of, you know, fucking gravity.
I feel like they just take a word like level and they just are twisting it to its maximum degree to confuse people and make people not be like, well, level is usually flat, so you're saying water's flat and therefore the world is flat. And it's just like, dude, that's not it. And but I like your explanation of like water doesn't do something. It is influenced by forces that we know exist. That's what it does. That's all it
like
ever does.
Like everything else in the universe, right?
Like all physics ever does. So if you don't have the exact force to explain what it's doing, then it's not doing the thing you're saying it's doing.
So
which is
horizon always rises to eye level. Well, that's complete nonsense because it doesn't always rise to eye level. And if you want proof of that, Greater Saken did a fantastic video where he showed exactly how much the horizon drops based on how high your altitude is. Perspective, we've covered that. You don't understand it. Crazy theories. Yes, moon to mock us. Wow, that's what I've got to say. That constant distance to the moon. Right, your misunderstanding here, again, is based on gravity. We are not looking at the moon chasing us, which is also chasing the sun. We are looking at gravity wells, which orbit each other. The gravity well of the Earth-Moon system is what is orbiting the sun. The moon is within a frame of reference of that gravity well. So it isn't chasing anything. It's orbiting its own gravitational well of the Earth. And then that gravitational well of the combined Earth-Moon system is what is orbiting the sun. So everything you said there is basically you misunderstanding everything, you fucking idiot.
Love that.
Done.
Oh. Well, I was starting to take a note there. You're trying to say that the moon is in some kind of well? I mean, how does that work? I thought, you know, your space-time is bent and all this sort of shit. In reality, that doesn't work. Everything works according to density and buoyancy. And maybe you don't understand that, but it's pretty basic. Is that the
I was just asking what the formula for buoyancy is.
The thing that's like his favorite thing, buoyancy.
Yeah. Like, I love explaining somehow.
How reality...
Sorry, go on.
If that's not how reality works, Iron Horse, and you do know how reality works, Iron Horse, do anything with it that is productive to society that will prove it doesn't even have to be about flat earth. Just prove that you are smarter than us and do something, find something, discover something with your intelligent brain instead of just sitting around getting drunk all day. Please.
I love trying to explain to them how I've lost my train of thought now. It's gravity is what influences kind of everything. And wait, what did he say?
Work. I thought, you know, your space-time is bent and all this sort of shit. In reality, that doesn't work. Everything works according to density and buoyancy.
Oh yeah, right. Buoyancy. I love trying to explain to them how buoyancy actually works. How when you take a volume, say if I took the volume of this ball, which is the moon, and I took the same volume of air around it, the air has a, you know, if this was a helium balloon, the air around it has a greater mass. And because, you know, mass influences the force of gravity, that the air is pulled down with a greater force than this ball filled with helium, which means it creates a force in the opposite direction because the other stuff around it's being pulled down heavier. And that's why when you're in a car, if you've got a helium balloon and you're in a car and you accelerate, the helium balloon goes forward, not backwards. Because the air, which has a greater mass than the helium balloon, is moved backwards by the car moving forwards, which shoves the balloon forward. You know, it shows that there has to be a force acting in the opposite direction for buoyancy to happen. But, you know, that involves having a brain cell that is not on its own.
That's too much to expect. But yeah, if anyone has never seen the helium balloon in the car experiment, definitely look that up, because it is, when I saw that for the first time, my mind like almost exploded, because it's the most counterintuitive thing you will have ever seen. But it's reality, and it's how it works. It's not theoretical. It's the most demonstrable thing ever. And about the density stuff, I was looking it up just to, you know, just try to refresh my brain about things before I actually went in the debate, and it made me realize buoyancy does not exist without gravity.
Yeah.
If there is no gravity, buoyancy does not exist as a concept anywhere, because buoyancy only exists because gravity exists. It is an inherent part of it. If you're floating in the middle of space, there is no buoyant concept. It's not anything you could ever discover, because without gravity, buoyancy will not ever exist. So it's almost like they don't want to acknowledge the thing, but they acknowledge the thing that is the other. Like, I don't know. It's just like obscuring the real source, the root cause of the action, by just focusing on the byproduct of the action. It's
they're like, it's things go up and down. That's the explanation. Yeah, we know they do, but why? Because of buoyancy and density. Yeah, that's again you just saying things go up and down. But why?
Well, no, it's you saying gravity. Like, buoyancy is gravity. So it's like the answer is gravity. You just don't want to call it gravity. You just want to call it buoyancy.
It's a direct result of there being a downward acceleration, creating a force on the mass of the things. Everything, the air and the helium balloon are accelerating towards the Earth at 9.8 meters per second squared. But because the helium balloon has less mass, there's less force, which means the air going down creates a force in the opposite direction. It's so simple. A lot like
and I brought up the equation. I brought up the equation in my debate with him, and I'm like, you know what the equation is? And it's like, obviously, no. I have no idea what math is. But I'm like, okay, well, let me tell you. It's rho v. You want to guess the next variable? You want to guess what the next variable is? Because it's an acceleration, and you know what we call that acceleration? Fucking gravity, you stupid fuck. And you can't get rid of it. Like, if that G isn't there, then there is no buoyancy in the first place.
Yep. But, they have to deny gravity whilst also using gravity without saying it. It's hilarious.
Maybe you don't understand but it's pretty basic. Is that the density of air is not sufficient to give buoyancy to physical objects. No, come on, it's my go. You shut up a minute. The density of air is not sufficient to give buoyancy to things of physical matter. So things of physical matter will take the path of least resistance until they find a place where it's arrested and they find buoyancy. And then once the object is at rest, it stays at rest unless you put another force onto it, such as picking it up again or shooting it up or filling it full of helium and sending it up into the stratosphere. And so I think that's pretty much what our moon is. It is something that is hollow and is filled full of helium or hydrogen, perhaps.
Facepalm protection, please, guys.
Pretty much like anything that you call a satellite is the only way it could exist, because the satellites would also have to be doing these same speeds, and they can't also be down this same well that you're talking about in your bent space-time ridiculous theory that you pulled out your ass. There's no such thing as space-time.
I'm not going to lie, I was high as fuck during this debate. Like, I'd had a lot of cannabis. I've quit cannabis now because I want to save money, but I was heavily smoking cannabis for my pain issues at this point. And this day I remember I'd picked up some extremely strong cheese cannabis, and I was high as I was like had the massive giggles, and I just could not fucking stop myself.
He was laughing during yours too.
And yet you make all your theories around delusions. Yeah, this is what witches and wizards do. They make formulas out of thin air.
Can you please repeat that for the people that may not heard that? I may have misunderstood you, and I don't want to misunderstand you. Can you please repeat what you said about the moon, please? The helium filled with?
Full of helium or hydrogen. Yeah, it's some sort of artificial construct.
Okay, what evidence do you have?
I'm finishing this bottle tonight.
It's some things are impossible to prove, but best evidence says that it's made out of, say, something that came from Earth, which I suggest the giants mined from what we now call the Grand Canyon. That's where they got the raw minerals to do it. And when you melt stuff into making glass and glass baubles, as it cools, you get bubbles coming across it. Now, if we had a moon with all these craters on it, most of these craters face the Earth, which means that they were made from asteroids that only just missed the Earth or meteorites and made an impact on the moon and made these perfect circles. But if it was a bubble or something glass as it pops and cools down fast, that is a far better and logical explanation for why the moon has all these craters in perfect round bubbles, no sideways hits, all round ones, all straight dead on.
I want to go back and let you listen to that again, guys.
Bubbles coming across it, called the Grand Canyon. That's been
evidence. This is a masterpiece right here.
That it's made out of, say, something that came from Earth, which I suggest the giants mined from what we now call the Grand Canyon. That's where they got the raw minerals to do it. And when you melt stuff into making glass and glass baubles, as it cools, you get bubbles coming across it. Now, if we had a moon with all these craters on it, most of these craters face the Earth, which means that they were made from asteroids that only just missed the Earth or meteorites and made an impact on the moon and made these perfect circles. But if it was a bubble or something in glass as it pops and cools down fast, that is a far better and logical explanation for why the moon has all these craters in perfect round bubbles.
So it's a far more logical explanation for why the moon has craters if you assume the moon was melted quartz filled with helium whilst it was cool and it was bubbles popping than asteroids.
So if I had a family member who had said something like this to me, this would be the first moment, I guess not the first because they'll do this stuff, but this would be the beginnings of me starting to question if I need to have this person like put into a institution or something where he's not going to be a danger to himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when they leave the room, you'd be like, right, guys, are we putting them in a home or
like this man needs help. Like this isn't a healthy person, you know? This isn't like a conspiracy. This is like you're going crazy.
Rachbot has been a member for 74 months, which is incredible for an AI that I programmed. Says, I require maintenance after watching this interaction. Initiate Rachbot reset maintenance mode Zeta 4. And then just plug in and recharge for 27 minutes, and that should reset your systems. You should be good, okay?
No sideways hits, all round ones, all straight dead on.
I'd like to respond to the last one of the 2 main points you made there, if that's cool. Density and buoyancy. I've been over this so many times. See this pen? Yeah? Right? You say it's going to fall because the air here is less dense than the pen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay? But the air here is also less dense than the pen. And the air here is less dense than the pen.
Right.
And the air here is less dense
the
than the pen.
pen is still more dense than all that other air.
So where's
it's
the
taking the
vector
path
come
of least resistance to the place of next amount of buoyancy, which is where the ground.
Sorry, the path of least resistance to the next place of buoyancy. Well, I recognised all those words, but I don't think they should have been in that order.
The next place of buoyancy, which obviously is down. That everyone knows that's what that means.
The next place of buoyancy. I forgot he said that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and I just didn't know the next place of buoyancy. It wouldn't be up, because next place of buoyancy isn't up. It's down, because that's where it is.
Now, like, these signals are all going out into space and stuff, because, you know, on satellite internet and everything, right? Which means at some point, aliens might be able to intercept them and see them. What do you think they would think when they hear him say that?
They'd say, oh, they must have not, like, discovered, like, they might not be past the agricultural revolution yet.
Yeah.
They're
surely just banging stones together, right?
Yeah, they're still, like, hunting and gathering. They're still probably in huts. So we probably don't have to worry about them.
The thing that gets me is, do you know the first signal that was strong enough to be broadcast into space? That technically would, I guess, be the first thing that aliens would ever hear from us. Do you know what that is?
No.
Hitler's speech before they went to war.
Yeah, that was
not good. So the first thing aliens might ever pick up from us is that.
That doesn't make me feel very cozy.
No. I mean, Ross probably enjoys that fact.
I was about to say, Iron Horse must be super stoked about that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the ground is below. That's why it's called down.
It needs a vector. It needs a vector.
That's why it's called down.
Not only, no. Yes, it does.
That's why it's called down.
Let me tell you why. Because not
what
only
is
does it
what
fall,
is.
Wait, no, I'm responding to you if you don't mind. It's my turn. Shut up. Thank you. Right? When this pen falls, not only does it fall, but it accelerates at a constant rate of 9.8 meters per second squared. That requires a force. Where's the vector come from? Where's the force come from? Where's the down come from?
He doesn't know what a vector is. Don't say words like that.
No, I know.
He doesn't know what a vector is.
I was still quite new in my flat Earth debating. This was my second flat Earth, my third flat Earth debate actually, because it was Flat Out Hero, and then Mind of God, and then Flat Earth Jesus. God, these people, I should have realized from their fucking names. Yeah, so this was technically my third broadcast flat Earth debate.
Question: would if modern day debate or whatever would you debate Ross again? Because you seem to be having a very, like, not just he's annoying, but like he's actually bad kind of vibe.
Yeah, I would, but I would just relentlessly
You would, yeah.
mock him during the debate. Yeah, and I would constantly point out how he's a horrific human being that likes Mustache Man. That you know, when I sent him money because I was being a human, he gave it to some probably guy in Indonesia called Muhammad. You know, I would just mock him constantly.
You got to bring the email up and put it as your background of him mocking you for donating money to him.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like he kept telling me how he's been with this girl for 7 years. And I was like, oh, when did you meet her? He's like, oh, we've never met.
Ooh, that's not a good sign.
What's that they call it? Pig butchering? Is that the pig butchering scam? Is that what they call it?
Catfishing?
I think catfishing is slightly different. I think it's called pig butchering. I'm not sure. Chat, is that pig butchering scam? Is that what I'm talking about? Yes, Borg Emporio is pointing. It says, "Do you remember the ugly wallpaper from the beginning of my channel?" Yeah, that behind me, what's red? We'd painted the wall like a day before. When we moved into the place that I was at there was like flowery pink wallpaper on. So the first few times that I was live and made videos, I had a background of pink flowery wallpaper.
The red might be a little better than that.
Yeah. I'm in a different place now because that place I was there last February, my roof got literally removed by Storm Eowyn.
What?
Yeah.
While you were in it?
Yeah. It was like, what the fuck was that noise? I went outside and we saw a massive amount of mess across the street. Our roof was taken off by the wind, flown across the street, destroyed the roof of the house across the street, and ended up in their back garden.
Oh my god! But you still had like a ceiling, like you did.
Yeah, we're in a bottom floor flat because I'm disabled, so I need the bottom floor and everything. But my neighbor above me, he could just kind of see into the sky.
Oh my god, that would be the most horrifying experience I could ever imagine.
And being in Britain, that's not something that normally happens here, you know.
Yeah, you guys aren't like hurricane people.
No. It was some of the worst weather that we'd experienced in like a good few decades, and yeah. Like, but we'd been having a big argument with our neighbor upstairs because he was a meth head that stole my wife's bike and tried to break into my home and stuff. Oh. And like about 2 minutes before it happened, literally, my wife was like, "Oh, I hope this storm fucks up so that he can't live there anymore." And then the roof got removed. It's like my wife spoke to God.
She spoke it into existence. Oh my god, you better not piss her off, dude.
Rubiks says, "What do you mean you need a roof? I do fine without one." Rubiks, your roof is my floor, so shush.
Stomp. Give her a couple stomps.
Because nothing's telling it to go down.
If you didn't pick it up, it would remain at rest. The force was picking it up.
No, the force wasn't.
The force of dropping is just the natural rate of falling through the density of air. If it hit water, it's going to fall at a different rate, isn't it? Because water is more dense than air.
Okay, hold on. Let me clear this up a little bit.
We need a free body diagram.
Fine. What Fight the Flat Earth is saying here is that there are basic laws of motion. Can we agree that anything that is at rest will stay at rest until a force acts upon it?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Okay.
You bet.
So when
he agrees with this, except he doesn't agree with this when it doesn't agree with him, of course.
Clearly. Doesn't agree with that at all. It's the absolute opposite he agrees with.
Pick it up. That's the force.
Okay, so there's a force, and he's living right there. What makes it fall down instead of staying right there in the middle of the air?
Very simple. You let it go.
Yes, you are.
And then the air.
No, that's not the reason why it falls.
You let it go.
The air is insufficient.
You need a force to make something move. Is what he's.
Right. Okay.
Listen, he's trying to tell you.
A question. Do you agree that acceleration requires a force?
Yes, something will remain at a constant vector or velocity or stationary unless acted upon by an outside exerted force. So when you let it go, what force is acting upon that? Yes, we understand.
The formula for gravity is bogus.
No, right.
You've said
Again,
it takes
show-
9.8
Wait,
meters per second squared.
You've just stated something that I would like you to prove. You just told me that acceleration doesn't necessarily acquire a force. Can you please explain that? Can you tell me at what point ever there's been
What I'm
acceleration
trying to do
that
is
doesn't
just
require a
shut your
force?
fucking lips. Yeah, the force
Okay,
you applied to
hold
it
on.
to raise it in the first place. Okay.
Sorry,
No,
I was
that's
going to
not-
let
that's not-
Flat Earth Jesus fully explain himself. Fully explain your theory of down, please.
Right, yeah. So you say there's
Theory
a
of
theory of
down.
gravity where you can measure something going.
People were asking if I got a video of my house coming, my thing coming off. There's my roof being removed by wind.
God. There's a real video of it?
Yeah, someone recorded it on TikTok because they could see that it was starting to go. So they were recording and then they put it on TikTok with the music for "I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away." So there's a video of my roof being removed that's on TikTok. Yeah.
That is the most gnarly thing I've ever seen.
It's all right. I got to move to a much better place. I love where I am now.
9.8
silver
meters per
linings.
second squared. Measurements are not reality. They're a man-made invention for how we better explain things.
Measurements, not
Well,
reality.
Same as
Go to
time, basically.
Go to the debate.
Yeah. Measurements aren't reality. I mean, they're measurements of reality, right?
Measurements? What is the difference between a measurement and a reality? That is, like, I feel like you just don't want to admit what you're saying. Like, a measurement is what reality is. Come on.
Yeah,
Stop
exactly.
it.
Cosmic Conspiracy for Life says, apart from your neighbors, lol. I mean, yeah, right. My neighbors, I've got one set of neighbors here that are Karens, but they're funny. They're just funny. They're not like the meth head that tried to attack me with nunchucks and tried to break into my home and steal my wife's bike. They're not comparable. They're just Karens that I laugh at, you know?
They're just jokes.
Yeah. They complained that we play with our dogs in our house because they can hear it. And then wrote to the council and did a noise complaint. And then the council basically went, shut the fuck up.
You're Karen.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Karen.
And then I wrote on Facebook about them being Karens. And they complained to the housing officer and said they were going to take me to court for slander. And I'm like, you just proved you're a fucking Karen.
You are being even more Karen-y now. That is the worst kind of neighbor.
Yeah.
God.
So, yeah, you got your time and distance combined into this one formula, which, okay, but you say it's per second squared. Now, terminal velocity automatically proves that theory completely wrong, because once you reach terminal velocity, you don't keep accelerating. Then you bring in air resistance.
Exactly. You've just answered your own question. Why is there a terminal velocity, Jesus?
Yeah, like what's your explanation for terminal velocity? We know what a terminal velocity is. What's yours if the buoyancy argument should still be true, right?
Yeah, and like, you know, different things have kind of different terminal velocities in, you know, they're based on their shape and their you know, like what happens if you remove the atmosphere? Like in a vacuum chamber, there is no terminal velocity. Things just keep fucking accelerating. Here's one thing about flat earthers is they do not understand the concept of multiple forces acting on something at the same time. That blows their mind.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to do with my stationary ball on a table example of like how many forces are acting on this ball that's not moving, and he's like,
oh god, that was so
one.
beautiful when you brought up the free body diagram and he started complaining about the three body problem.
Yeah, that was the first, like, I think you just didn't hear me.
No, he didn't. He had no idea what a free body diagram was. And flat earthers have this idea that the three body problem destroys gravity because there's no closed, you know, analytical solution to it. There's no one equation that you can just plug in that every n body problem is solved by. You know, what we do is we solve it in segments. We take everybody, we look at their position and what's happening, and we solve it in segments, and we can predict it centuries in advance. You know, there is no one closed solution for any n-body problem. That doesn't exist and couldn't exist. It'd be impossible. But we solve it with statistics, you know? There is
So, like,
analytical solutions for it.
So like even if there wasn't an analytical solution, like even if you can't describe something using math, that still doesn't mean it's not true.
Yeah.
That just means you don't know how to mathematically describe the process. That doesn't mean the process isn't happening and is measurably happening consistently. Like even if that was true, it still doesn't matter.
I didn't realize we've actually been going for 2 hours already, which we've hardly got through any of this. So I think
how much have we gotten through?
We've only got through about 20 minutes. I don't want to have to go through all the Q&A, but I do want to go up to where before the Q&A starts. But we're probably going to have to pick it up maybe in the week. We can continue with this one and then maybe do the Witsit one as well. I was thinking of maybe going for another half an hour today, and then we can continue on maybe Monday if you're free.
I don't know about Monday.
What day are you free? We'll work around you, my friend.
So the days that are best for me is Thursday night, Friday, Saturday night. Those are the best. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay. Well, do you want to? We'll go for about another half hour tonight, and then do you want to pick it up on Thursday?
Yes.
That'd be perfect.
Now double check my calendar and everything.
Cool.
But yeah, next
Porgaporia says keep streaming forever and ever and ever. Yeah, I tried that once. My record's 72 hours, and I thought I died.
Is this about as late as you go to like in half an hour from now? That's about as late as you normally go?
I try not to go too late all the time because I do the gym quite often, and I have a family, and I don't just want to sleep all the day. And last night I was up till nearly 5 o'clock in the morning doing my Star Trek D&D as it was, so I'm still a bit tired from that.
Gotcha. Because if this is as late as you go, it's not too late for me. It's possible we could even do it a little sooner, but I'd have to organize it with the family.
Well, let me know what times you're available on Thursday, and we will pick up. But we'll go about another half hour today. We'll go to about 12:30 my time here. So, and I think about 2.5 hours is a good amount of time for a stream. I think when you look at analytics in general, after about 2 hours, the views drop off quite heavily because people zone out. And that's understandable. I try to keep them entertaining, talking, not just showing the stuff and stuff. But in general, I've noticed that when you go over 2 hours, that's when the people watching tend to drop off quite hard. Not necessarily in the live chat, but definitely in the replays and stuff. So
what was the record? You didn't just do like 48 hours?
I did 56 hours the weekend just gone, but my record is 72 hours.
You are insane.
A lot of people say that, yes.
That is crazy. But clearly viewers like you enough to make it happen. So
yeah, well, they're the ones that keep me fucking streaming on those times. So
yeah, they're I like you called it a hostage. That's the best description of it.
Yeah, 72 hours was the most ridiculous one, but I did quite a few times where they could double the amount of time added during that 72-hour one, which is always stupid because then people are like, I'm going to donate now.
Oh my god, that sounds so freaking insane. But you have to sleep at some point.
Yeah, well, I slept for about 9 hours on camera.
Oh my god!
Whilst playing some of my old videos in the background, and I find it funny because you have more people watching me sleep than Nathan Oakley has when he's live.
Oh my god! Your sleeping is more entertaining.
Actually, I set up some videos to play when I was sleeping, but I didn't turn on autoplay. So after about 4 hours, one of the videos stopped. And it was literally just me sleeping on camera. And I still had more people, maybe 10 times the amount of people watching me than Nathan Oakley gets when he's live.
No! Just a frozen moment of you asleep.
Yeah.
That reminds me of that scene from, you ever watch The Truman Show? Where they're just watching him sleep. And it's just like, people just all over the world watching this man sleep. And they're so fascinated by him. And still more than this other dude. That is just too good.
I popped into Nathan Oakley's stream the other day. I think there was 17 watching.
Okay, Nathan.
Which is probably on the higher end for him, to be fair.
17's pretty good.
Although I popped into a Flatsoid stream and there was 4. Sorry, not Flatsoid. I forgot that his name is now... If you don't know, Flatsoid did a video about the fact he had a wank and then cried.
That's cute.
Yeah, I don't know why you would put that online, but he did.
I'm gonna post about my crying wank right after this, so guess he beat me to it.
But the whole thing is actually air resistance. You know, when you're dropping through the medium. If you drop a feather through air, it has air resistance, and it does this. You drop an air with a feather with a bowling ball in a vacuum chamber, they fall at the same rate. No attraction.
Thanks, gravity.
Of mass is required because there's no density once you remove the air. So everything is density and buoyancy, and they both stop at the same place when they hit the floor because the floor is dense. It is really quite simple. You don't have to make magical formulas and... Yeah, I'm done.
Just saying...
Goddess Engineer on the bottom left there, who himself is an engineer.
Nice.
Is basically... I can feel him crying at the things that Flat Earth OG Jesus is saying. Like...
Yeah, I loved his reaction when he was talking. He's like, but the what? What were you just saying? And I love Jesus's reference to the math of calling it magical formulas, as if like even if the world was flat, you would still use formulas. You freaking psycho! What is in you? There's something wrong with you.
Apparently, according to Zumi, there is a Swedish word for crying while wanking. It's gradtrunka.
Ah, that's what I do on Fridays usually.
Borg wants me to do a cooking stream. I did make a good bolognese earlier, I must say. I've decided that my retirement is going to be me training to be a chef and working in a restaurant because I like cooking.
Okay. Cooking king. I love that.
My son's just, he's nearly finished his qualifications for becoming a chef. He's been at college for 2 years doing it. And the thought of working in a restaurant that me, my wife, and my son own and operate is fucking heaven to me.
Yeah, dude. Cooking is like, it's an art more than science, I feel like.
I think I'm pretty damn good at cooking because I like food, you know?
I think that's a good sign.
I make the best risotto, by the way. And that's a fucking hard thing to get right.
Risotto? I don't think I've ever made risotto, so you're
basically
ahead of me.
Rice in broth that has to be cooked like so specifically.
Actually, just goes down because you're not given a reason as to why it is going down.
Lack of buoyancy. Air doesn't offer enough buoyancy because it's lacking density.
I don't think you're using buoyancy in the same way that everybody else uses it. Can you just tell me what the formula for buoyancy is?
You don't need a formula.
Don't need a formula. Your evil, magical formulas.
You don't need a formula, guys.
You don't need formulas are of the devil.
Oh, I've somehow muted that. I don't know how I did that.
Because it's of sufficient density.
You can't just make up your own definitions for something.
You're finding a balance. Everything seeks and finds its balance.
Jesus,
nature.
You can't make up your own definitions for something.
Jesus, hold on.
It's not a definition. It's natural observation.
I'm sorry, but if you go and look up the definition of buoyancy, it will completely disagree with you. So you are just making up things at this point. You are changing the nature of language. You are just changing what words mean. No, that's not how it works. Buoyancy is a thing that has a formula which has gravity in it.
Hold on.
Okay?
Okay, Flat Earth Jesus, I'm going to have to warn you. I'll let him finish, okay? I'm going to get on to him, too, when he does it. But I'm just saying, guys, let's try to not talk over each other, okay?
Okay. Can I address his moon craters thing quickly, if that's all right?
Well, let him address what you said, and I'll make sure that we get back to the moon craters.
Yeah, well, I'm saying science is the observation of nature. You don't have to make up formulas.
You don't.
I don't think science is the observation of nature. That's he's just like that's not how words work. You can't just say what you want a word to be. You know?
Yeah, I think observation of nature might be one of the steps.
Yeah, it's certainly step one in the scientific method, you know, but
I think it's part of it. It's a
science
little
is
bit
the
more
study of the
than
natural world using experimentation.
There you go. That sounds a little bit better.
You ask them what the scientific method is, and they start just like freaking out.
He needs to go do some good trunka. Is that the word?
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah. Trunka.
Good. Yeah. Flat Earth Jesus needs to go good trunka after this.
To explain what is naturally apparent. What is naturally apparent is if you let go your pen, it drops. And so if you want to describe how that happens, you can measure how fast it falls, but the reason why it happens is because air is of insufficient density to give it buoyancy. The ground is of sufficient density to give it buoyancy. Or if you dropped it into a pool, it might be of sufficient density. It depends how heavy your pen is. But that's just how it is. You don't have to make up theories and other things. You just observe reality and you record what happens. And then you say, well, this is why, because it's got more mass, more density, and it falls. It just drops. You don't have to make up theories for, a formula for buoyancy. Formulas, again, are made up of man-made inventions such as measurements, time, distance. We don't need...
Apparently time and distance are man-made inventions.
He's really just literally against formulas.
Oh, yeah.
He like, formulas are just man-made inventions. It's like, so he's taking a stand against math. Like, that is brave.
Down with math! No math!
Math is bad that's probably one of the hottest takes I think I've ever heard.
But it's then he says that time and distance are also man-made inventions. So apparently, space between things is just made up by men, and so is the passage of time. The arrow of time, entropy, is just man-made.
Before humans, no time.
No, there was no time. No.
Before humans, no distance either.
Yeah, when animals wanted to migrate, they were just there.
They were there and immediately migrated, and then humans came along and it took forever.
Yeah, fucking, we screwed everything up with our stupid man-made inventions of time and distance. Fuck's sake.
With their distance and time, and fucking making everything long and hard.
I know. Describing the universe and just fucking up his life is so annoying.
That to observe reality.
Okay, right. First off, yes, you absolutely can measure and observe reality with measurements. I just measured this book with my phone, and using that, I can realistically tell you that this book is about 2.5 of my phones in length. That accurately describes the reality of the situation, okay? And that
like
is
a demon
how
to me.
Works.
I know.
These formulas aren't just made up. They can accurately predict and calculate what is going to happen. Okay, you still.
Yeah, I like to say that formulas aren't made up; they're discovered. The formulas exist, right? The maths of the universe exists. We didn't make them up; we just discovered them.
I mean, that's a philosophical, semantical. It's a good question, I would say, math. Does math exist without humans? I would maybe argue it doesn't. To be honest, like, the laws of the universe exist without humans, but math would not exist without humans. But it's really, more importantly, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it's not really. It's just a semantical question. But I would definitely say that the laws of the universe definitely, like, does a tree fall in the forest? Does it make a sound if no one's there? Yeah, it does make a sound.
I could argue that does a force need mass and acceleration without humans? Yes, it still does. Humans didn't.
Yes,
humans didn't invent that a force is mass times acceleration. That's something we discovered and wrote down and put in a form that people can understand.
Exactly. Yeah, we just described the thing that we're observing, and the thing about the equations is that, like, the equation, the fact that he doesn't want to explore the equations, it just says everything about him, because, like, you don't want to actually understand what's happening. If you don't want to look at the math, that means you really just don't want to look at the thing. Like, you just don't want to see what's truly happening. Because the whole point of math is because we can't just vibes our way through all these questions. We have to actually put numbers down and figure out the true answer instead of just be like, well, I think this is probably how it's gonna work, so I'm just gonna say that. It just means you don't want to look at it.
But flat earthers want math to just be a pure human thing that doesn't matter, because then they can just talk nonsense and ignore the maths. Oh, well, humans made up maths and we don't need it, therefore it's not true.
Well, it shows the limitation of what they are able to do. And yeah, if they know, I really swear to God, I think they know if they start digging in the math and if they understand the math, then they're not going to be able to be a flat earther anymore. And they don't want to not be a flat earther. You know
Which is what happened with Jeranism. Once we showed him the proof of things, once we showed him predictions and models, and then the reality that matches those, he was no longer a flat earther. And guys, if you want to see Jeranism tomorrow, you need to come back to the channel at 11 p.m. UK time, as Jeranism will be moderating a debate between myself and Kevin from Canada, who doesn't understand that ice rinks aren't completely flat.
With all this nonsense of buoyancy and density, haven't explained where the force of acceleration comes from, okay? So basically, your answer is magic. Cool, got it. Harry Potter's not real, but whatever. Now, let's get onto the moon crater stuff. Your objection to the moon is that the craters all look like they've been hit on straight on, right? Now, do you realize the force of impact of those craters? It's not gonna, like, if it's coming from the side, it's gonna explode and create a crater with an equal diameter. It's not gonna have like a massive, like, gouge across it showing that there's been something hitting it from the side. It is a big ass explosion and impact that is going to show a crater. They all look like that because of the force of the impact of what's hitting it. You're not going to see massive gouges coming from the side because anything that hits.
Yeah, they think that craters that don't hit directly on should be like if someone like swiped the fucking moon with claws or something.
Yeah, it would be like a what's it called when a bullet like a graze.
Yeah,
like when a bullet grazes you.
Yeah.
But I think what you're getting at is that when it hits with enough force, it doesn't matter if it's coming in at like a 90-degree angle. It's just an explosion.
Yeah.
And an explosion doesn't care about direction. It's just an explosion for when it starts. And the direction, like maybe there is, but it's just not big enough to matter. And it just wouldn't be visible, you know?
It's the kinetic energy being released in every direction, you know, and it doesn't just go, although, you know, you can see like grazes, but that's like probably from the rocks that's left over after the explosion or something. But
right
on Earth, it's even worse because asteroids don't actually tend to hit the ground. On Earth, they'll explode in the air because the pressure from the atmosphere as the asteroid is coming in causes an explosion in the actual asteroid.
Right.
You know, I'm not sure if like maybe the meteorite that hit the ground and killed hit the Earth and killed the dinosaurs got to the ground or not. It was a lot bigger, but in general, asteroids don't really get to the ground on Earth. They explode before that happens.
That's right, and that's why you don't see the Earth as peppered with craters as the moon is.
Yeah.
Because our atmosphere protects us from all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really, really powerful, like many atomic bombs going off, and it's going to just leave a massive fucking crater. You're not going to see all these scrapes and stuff that you seem to be expecting to see, because that is not how reality works. And again, all that can be calculated and predicted and explained with the math and model that the rest of the reality insane people outside of your mental asylum that can actually use and understand. All right?
Okay,
so
then
there you go. Your moon stuff is absolute nonsense. Your beard's still great, but the rest of it's nonsense.
I like that.
Well, I'd like to address that.
I'm just jealous because I can't grow facial hair.
See, it's good to give him like a little something like, look, you're still good like this way, but you just are really stupid in every other way.
But when the only good thing you can say about someone is they've got a good beard, everything else fucking sucks. But they got a good beard. That's not really good, you know?
But it just shows you're not biased, at least. You're willing to give him something.
And I did try to grow a beard. I did it on stream for 6 weeks, didn't shave. And I just ended up with like a bit here and a little bit there. And that was kind of it. I just don't grow facial hair. Yeah. It always pissed people off in the Navy because like most people would have to shave themselves raw, right? But I could get away with not shaving for 2 to 4 days at a time. before the little bum fluff would have to come off. And people fucking hate, why aren't you shaving? I don't need to. I'm not going to ruin my face with razors.
But it took me, like, for this awkward beard I have here, it takes me at least like 6 months to get through the hyper gross looking beard phase to get to something that looks generally acceptable in public. And once I get there, it's like, okay, people don't look away in fear anymore.
Yeah, I've just decided that I'm just going to be baby faced for the rest of my life because I can't do beards. It doesn't happen.
Looks clean.
And I'd like to see if you have any examples where somebody has sent a big bomb, set it off, and has created a perfect circle somewhere on Earth. Have you got any examples of that? Have you got anything to back up your claims that this is what things do when they causes huge destructions, that they make what appears to us from a distance to be perfect circles? Every single...
Well, yeah, when bombs go off on Earth, that's what fucking happens.
He's asking, have you ever seen a bomb go off and it be in a circle? It's like, well, have you ever seen a bomb go off and it's not in a circle?
Yeah, right?
I don't know
Bombs don't leave like fucking lines going along.
Yeah, what are you talking? What is the point that you're making?
Remember that toe fungus is smarter than him. Like by
Sounds
orders of magnitude.
And they're less racist.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
This is what you're claiming on the moon. A thing that forms as a bubble creates a perfect circle, and when it pops, it leaves behind what would appear to be like a crater, a bit like, well, I wouldn't say you've got a pizza face necessarily, but when somebody has a lot of pimples pop on their face, they create these perfect little balls, and they call them moon faces.
We've got a Flerf in the chat called Robert House, who's like, very convenient for globe science. There's a theme for this when they look into globe science. The moon and the sun only appear the same size. Convenient they have a perfect ratio of size to distance. Yeah, I can hold up a cheeseburger and it looked the same size as a car in the distance. That doesn't mean the cheeseburger is the same size as the car.
But it's very convenient that it is the same size as the car.
Yeah. Just the Father Ted video of these cows are small. The ones out there are far away.
Pizza face.
Oh, you've never watched Father Ted. You're American. Yeah. What? Okay, just after you've talked with me, go and binge watch Father Ted. Okay?
Father Ted. Oh.
Yeah. It's one of the best comedy series ever made.
Really?
It's about a vicar called Father Ted, a Catholic vicar that really doesn't like being a vicar, and he's got his like junior vicar called Dougal, who is about as smart as a flat earther. It's fucking hilarious. It's some of the best TV ever made. They do an episode where it's basically Speed but with a milk float.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Because it's not math. Math doesn't create perfects just from chaos. You're saying it's created out of chaos from an explosion. I'd say a perfect bubble forms
do these
because, when it forms in like a bauble and it pops, it will leave behind what appears to be a crater. It won't do it from something hitting it like a bomb from any angle and creating a perfect circle.
Okay, hold on. I just want to reiterate for people that what Flat Earth Jesus is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, you think craters on the moon are made by bubbles popping from the surface?
As it was made, as it cooled. Like a glass-like object. So that's why it's semi-opaque. That's why during a full moon, when the sun hits
That's why it's semi-opaque. That's why.
That's why, yeah. That's why you can see through it during the day, and it's blue. Nothing to do with radio scattering or anything, Oh my god. Right, well, I think we're going to leave it for tonight, all right, and we will pick it back up on Thursday. And if we need to, we will do another one. We go over your debate with Witsit, because I want to see that one, because I do enjoy seeing Witsit get fucking ruined. It's like one of my little pleasures in life, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Witsit is something else. He doesn't deserve happiness, so I like the humiliation.
Do you know his explanation for the counter-rotating stars in the north and south? Have you heard that?
The one of the million explanations he has. He says something like he just uses a bunch of fucking word salad. It's like a projector that has 4 different quadrants in the sky. It's a million different things. What did he say?
The one he used the most before he disappeared was that, well, if I draw a circle on a piece of glass with a marker, and someone is standing the other side of that piece of glass, they see the circle drawn the other way. So I draw it clockwise, they see it counterclockwise. And I kind of had to explain to him that when you're flying from the north to the south, you don't fly through a pane of glass, and it's different fucking stars.
That sounds way too complicated to be true.
Right, well, would you like to just promote yourself before we finish for tonight?
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me on. I'm FreeWill. My YouTube channel is pretty small, but I do plan to post more in the future. So please just head over and subscribe. You're not going to be bombarded with a bunch of stuff right now, but just get in on the ground floor. We're starting early, okay? And we're going to get
in the chat, guys.
Posting. Yeah, we're going to be posting more stuff later on. And yeah, I really love debating. I love debating Flat Earth. I would debate politics or religion or whatever. If anyone ever wants to challenge me, I would love to be involved in any other debates or streams. So
I'll debate you, DC versus Marvel.
Dude, I am curious if like modern day debate, or I guess it could be anywhere, would be open to be like more fun debate types. That'd be kind of interesting.
Look for Debate Hub run by Chesh. That could be a place to do that.
Debate Hub. That'll be it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I'll send you an email and we will get you back on Thursday to, there's about another 40 minutes or so of actual back and forth in this debate between me and Gandalf McGee there. And then the next time we get you on, we will look at your debate with Witsit, and I won't watch it in advance. I want to experience that one raw.
I think you'll like what happened there. So I think it'll be a good time. And yeah, I look forward to it.
All right, buddy. Well, have a good night, and I will speak to you soon.
Thank you, boss.
Bye.
Good talking. Bye.
All right, everyone. That was FreeWill. His chat is linked in the description and in the top of the chat here. So please go and check him out. He's an engineer and actually is extremely good at debating the Flerfs. We're going to finish up for tonight. I want to thank you for your support. There was like 260 watching at one point, which is amazing. Do appreciate it. And I will be back tomorrow at 11 p.m. UK time with a debate with Kevin, moderated by Jerenism the Amazing. Thank you, everyone, for your support. We're going to finish up with the new video by Conspiracy Music Studios, which I have not seen yet, so I get to enjoy it with you. I want to thank you all for your super chats and your support and your love, and obviously thank you very much for the massive amount of support you gave me on my membership drive. That was absolutely incredible. Just about recovered from that. Those take it out of me, guys. Honestly, people think, oh, you're just sitting in front of your computer, but no, doing it for that long with the lights and the screens and the producing and the debating and the responding, it's really quite hard. So don't do it unless you're an expert. Right, guys. I will see you soon. The Watcher, who's been a member for 25 months, says, I still haven't forgotten the time Witsit said in the debate that he believes the USA is a white Christian nation. I still have the video. Yeah, that's... Anyone that says the USA is a Christian nation is ignoring what the Founding Fathers fucking said. All right, thank you, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. And until then, remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
the globe missed by a minute and change, but the sky don't move like your whiteboard range. Geometric this, geometric that, while the atmosphere laughs at your format. Rise over onto the mountain peak, looks airtight if you don't look deep, but once that altitude starts to climb, that clean little math runs out of time. Good evening, lads, and the debts you cry, then draw straight lines in a bending sky. When the laser curves in the salty sea, that's physics, dog, not conspiracy. Nice prezi, dog, but you can't compute. Nice prezi, dog, where's the proof? Half the art, dog, half the clue. Can't solve it live when we ask you to. Nice prezi, dog, looks real clean till the planes fly high and they break the screen. When the balloon goes up, so does the down. Nice prezi, dog, the globe checks out. You audit space with a prezi dog. Next week's stream when it gets too hard. Week 39 and it's still the same. Cope laugh first, then dodge the flame. Big spreadsheets, dog, zoomed in tight. Scroll real fast past the test we cite. You preach that math like it's sacred truth, but sweat on the keys when it's time to compute. Shame, Saint Plagiar in the chat. Laugh it off first, imagine that.
Not fair enough.
Nice prezi dog, but it falls apart. Nice prezi dog, that's denialist art. Half the art, dog, half the mind. Lose the curve every time. Nice prezi dog, scream it loud. Hide in slides, impress the crowd. When the altitude climbs, watch it slip. Nice prezi dog, your model slips. Can't
Subscribe to Conspiracy Music Studios, or I send Daniel Pratt to your house. Thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow for a debate with Kevin, moderated by Jaren. Remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.